you go. Go ahead.
Brooklyn has been nominated by her team of teachers because she is an all-around great student. She works hard in all her classes, and her teachers really appreciate how vicarious and outgoing she is. She works well with others and strives to do her best in all that she endeavors. She has the ability to balance the academic responsibilities of 8th grade with multiple outside sports. She plays year-round travel and softball, soccer, and is on the KJHS basketball team for 7th and 8th grade. Brooklyn's goals for the future include traveling the world after high school and going to college, where she hopes to major in business so that she can open her own beauty salon. Also, since her grandfather's death, she wants to help in some way towards the cause of cancer. This year, Brooklyn is inspired to obtain a 4.0 GPA. Her favorite class is English because she gets to write about her experiences, thoughts, and feelings. When she is not at school, Brooklyn can be found practicing sports or hanging around with her friends. Brooklyn's parents are very proud of her. They see her as a very caring, compassionate, and loving young woman who puts her heart into every sport she plays. They are very proud of what she has become. Congratulations, Brooklyn.
I'd like to also take this opportunity to acknowledge that Brooklyn's success at school comes with the support of her friends and family, so if you would stand, we'd like to acknowledge you and thank you as well.
Respectful personality. She's always willing to help and is kind to everyone around her. And she loves her wonderful little laugh. Miss Linares, her 7th grade algebra teacher, sees how hardworking she is and that she puts her best effort into each and every assignment. Mr. Russo, her PE teacher, comments that she goes about her work with enthusiasm and maturity. She never seems to have an off day. At Kenilworth, Daisy is very active in UTV. She assists the technological production of the school's televised news show, and at times she acts as a host, reading the daily bulletin. When she is not at school, Daisy can be found sketching and drawing, doing origami, or hanging out with her friends. Her future plans after high school include going to college to learn more about digital media and animation in movies. Daisy's parents are very proud of her. They see her as a friendly and responsible person who always helps her younger sister and other people. Congratulations, Daisy. Is pleased to introduce the December student of the month, Kyle Kowalski. Kyle has been nominated by his team of teachers because he excels in everything he does. His work is of the highest quality on a consistent basis. He puts a great deal of effort into everything he does and persists through difficult challenges, always striving for the best. He comes to class with a positive attitude and is always willing to help others. At Kenilworth, Kyle has been studying Spanish in 7th grade and is in advanced English and algebra. His favorite subject is history because his teacher, Mr. Quintua, makes history interesting through his sense of humor. When he is not at school, Kyle can be found riding his dirt bike or drawing. His plans for after high school include going to college or pursuing some type of engineering degree. Kyle's family is very proud of him. His mom has this to add. We are very proud that Kyle has been named Student of the Month and is so proud of the person he is. He works hard at school, is a good friend, and has a quick wit and a great sense of humor. He is kind and sensitive, and his family has always known how special he is. Congratulations, Kyle.
I'm China Hess, and I am a co-president of Petaluma Junior High School. Juliana Roper has been chosen as the December Student of the Month for Petaluma Junior High School.
Congratulations.
An exceptional student and all-around person, Juliana Roper has been chosen as the December Student of the Month at Petaluma Junior High School, earning a 4.0 grade point average while taking accelerated classes. Juliana is on the honor roll and has earned the Principal's Renaissance Award and Gold Awards. Teachers state Juliana is a joy to have in the classroom. She will humbly take on the most intimidating challenges and succeed. A quiet leader who works extremely hard every day. She sets a positive example for other students. Juliana is highly motivated, determined, and competent in all areas. Her peers look up to her and she is well liked and respected by all. Juliana is involved in numerous extracurricular activities. Loving sports, Juliana is on the 8th grade volleyball team and was a strong member of the 7th grade first place track team. Outside of school, Juliana plays club volleyball for the Empire Club Volleyball, soccer for PYSL, and this spring will play lacrosse for Nevada Lacrosse. Juliana enjoys challenging herself and for fun runs on weekends with hopes of setting a record in the mile or the 100-meter race this year at PJHS. Playing the flute for the honor band, Juliana practices every day but also pursues an interest on the side. Self-motivated, Juliana buys books at the local music store and teaches herself movie and Broadway themes. Her music teacher says Juliana has a very good ear and is a fine flute player. Juliana also enjoys spending time with her family. When asked if there was any further information she wanted to share about herself for this write-up, Juliana stated, "I want to thank my mother, father, and brother for encouraging me to try anything new and always strive for excellence." Future goals for Juliana are multidimensional. One of her goals is to break the world record in running or be an Olympic athlete in volleyball, running, or soccer. Juliana plans on continuing in track and cross country in high school. She also plans on attending Ivy League school and earn a PhD in biology. Juliana's mother states, "Juliana's focus, dedication, and approach to school, sports, and life in general are an inspiration to me. She is not afraid to try anything new, no matter how foreign or difficult it may seem. She sets goals for herself and reaches them. All her accomplishments reflect her hard work, like training for and finishing a half marathon after only discovering running a few months prior to the race. School and homework, including band and team sports, are her top priorities, always doing more than what is being asked of her. She does all this so seamlessly and always excited about things that she inspires her little brother to read and wants to follow in her footsteps when it comes to music, school, and sports. I feel privileged to be her mother." Congratulations, Juliana Roper.
Juliana's family.
Jacob Tushman has been chosen as the December Student of the Month at Petaluma Junior High School. A well-poised, intelligent young man with a lot to offer, Jacob Tushman has been nominated the Student of the Month for December at Petaluma Junior High School. Teachers state, Jacob is a bright student who consistently produces quality work and is always willing to help in whatever way he can. He demonstrates a sincere desire to actively participate and can always be counted on to do his best and motivate others. Jacob is hardworking, resourceful, alert, and cheerful. His positive attitude influences others and makes him a joy to have in the classroom. A 4.0 student taking high-level classes such as Honors English, Honors Band, and Spanish 1B, Jacob has earned the Principal's Gold and Renaissance Awards and has been at the top of the honor roll at PJHS. Jacob is well-rounded with a variety of interests. Besides playing trumpet, he loves baseball and is on the year-round traveling team. He is very proud of his recent accomplishment of becoming a bar mitzvah. In the eyes of the Jewish faith, this means he has become a man. He has been traveling in an 8-year program with a more intensive focus study over the last year and a half. The process included community service and he chose to tutor 3 young students one time per week at his past elementary school, McNear. He felt fulfilled helping others and is currently deciding he wants to help teach students on their way to becoming bar mitzvah at his temple. Jacob's future goals include maintaining a 4.0 in high school so he can attend the college of his choice. He is interested in the field of sports medicine and is considered being a physical trainer or a doctor for athletes. He broke his arm twice last summer, and his grandfather was an orthopedic surgeon, both contributing to his interest in the field. Jacob would also like to continue to play trumpet in the school band and play baseball for his high school team. Jacob's parents state, while Jacob has always pushed himself to do outstanding work academically, what shines through is his character. Jacob is a model citizen who helps his peers and serves his community. He stands up for what is right and treats others with dignity and respect. In addition, Jacob has a great sense of humor and is a trusted friend. Jacob's parents are very proud of their son. Congratulations, Jacob Tuchel.
Jacob's family? How about Pastor Don?
Hello, my name is Jessica Sandoval and I am this year's co-ASD president. And it's an honor to introduce Ryan Santos as our December Student of the Month. Ryan is a motivated and hardworking student who enjoys establishing good relationships with his teachers and classmates. He is a member of the AP cluster and his favorite subjects are calculus and physics. Ryan has maintained straight A's since freshman year and is in the top 10 of his class. Ryan has played multiple sports for Costa Grande, including baseball, football, cross country, and swimming. He is the page editor for the school's award-winning newspaper and volunteers at St. James Church as a peer for the youth ministry program. He is also the president of a new club at Costa called Students for Soldiers. Ryan would like to attend the Naval Academy or go to college in Southern California after he graduates high school, and he plans on majoring in some type of engineering. After college, Ryan wants to proudly serve his country as a Navy SEAL. Congratulations, Ryan.
And Ryan's family? All right, and Petaluma High School.
Hello, I'm Cara Grant, and I am ASB President. I'm honored to present Amy Brazil as one of our December Student Months. Amy Brazil is a 17-year-old second-generation Petaluma High School student who takes honors in AP courses and is interested in math and criminal sciences. She has participated on the girls' JV basketball team and also participates on the varsity badminton team. Outside of school, Amy participates in the Civil Air Patrol Cadet Program, where she has been promoted to a cadet staff sergeant. This program has provided her with leadership skills and knowledge of aerospace. Due to her participation in CAP, she is interested in pursuing a university that is involved in the U.S. Air Force ROTC. Overall, Amy has enjoyed her time at Petaluma High School. Congratulations, Amy.
Victory RSDN. One more.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie Moreta. I am the Vice President of Petaluma High School's ASB, and I'd like to welcome Cole Simpson, the other student. Cole Simpson has been in the top 10 students of his class every year of high school. He is on the varsity tennis team where he played number 1 most of his sophomore year and won the SCL doubles tournament with his partner his junior year. He also plays trumpet in the marching and varsity jazz bands. The varsity jazz band came in first place at their last competition. Cole is also in the Safe School Ambassadors and has participated in the WASP Accreditation Leadership Group. He has volunteered as a mentor at the junior high band weekend of the Casadero Music Camp the last 2 years. He is planning on studying business next year at a 4-year college. Cole loves traveling and is hoping to study abroad at least 1 semester in college. Congratulations, Cole.
It's always a pleasure to see the wonderful students that we have in this district. In a short period of time, you're going to find your name on the wall here, the Wall of Fame. Going back all the way to, I think, 1981 or 82, we have all the students of the month up there. Comes with fabulous prizes, scholarship money, whatever college you want to go to, just let us know. No, seriously though, we have 7,500 kids in this district. And I always say this, and I always think I'm going to go home and do the air math on this, but I don't know what exactly it is, but basically 8 or 9 of you are here tonight, and that's a pretty big deal, 7,500 kids. So congratulations, thank you all. I'd like to share with you that your achievement is inspiring to the people who work very hard to help you get where you go. Not only just your parents, but the folks here at the district, all the way from the people that transport you to school, take care of making sure you have a safe and clean place to learn, to your teachers, your teachers' assistants, your administrators, and even those of us that sit up here. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Congratulations. Matter of housekeeping here real quick for those of you. We're going to do presentations from Petaluma Junior High School, Kenmore Junior High School. So as I figure out how to sign back on here, I know that we've got at least one other one, and then we'll do a quick break after that. So you guys can just hang with me for a short period of time. Cherry Valley, yeah, Mary Collins, okay. So let's start with student reports from Mary Collins School at Cherry Valley. So I have some students from Mary Collins School at Cherry Valley.
Hello, I'm Nathan Eicher, and I'm the student president of Mary Collins School at Cherry Valley. I am very excited to have this opportunity to represent our wonderful school for the second year in a row, as I came here last year as the school's vice president. I've gone to the school since kindergarten all the way through 7th grade where I am now. My mom has taught here since I was a baby, so really I've been around Cherry Valley my whole life. I love this school and could not imagine going anywhere these past 8 years. Anywhere else, sorry. This year, we've had a productive and cohesive student council due to the fact that Henry here and I, along with our school treasurer, ran together as the cheetah parties, the school's first and only party. So far, we've gotten 10 basketball nets for our playground that will, in the long run, save us over $200. We're looking forward to supporting the garden, making new track renovations, getting new technology, and revitalizing art at our school.
Hello, my name is Henry Nixon, and I am the Vice President of Mary Collins School at Cherry Valley. My roles as School Vice President and Middle Teller, more on that later, have really helped me get closer to our school community, an activity that I have enjoyed profoundly. Going to Cherry Valley has really been a great learning and community experience. I have been at Mary Collins since kindergarten, so I don't know how other schools are. However, I have heard from kids who transferred to our school that Mary Collins is like no other, in a good way. Mary Collins has taught me so much about writing. I am currently writing 3 books and just finished a short story. I like multitasking. I couldn't have done it without the help and support of my friends and teachers at Cherry Valley. All in all, Mary Collins at Cherry Valley is a wonderful place of learning, and I am very proud of all that we have accomplished so far this year.
This year, our great new principal, Mr. Carvey, who is somewhere back there, has brought our school together with weekly assemblies. Both Henry and I have had a role in hosting them. I've been sort of an MC, announcing the other executive council members and providing updates on what we've been doing with student council.
As the riddle teller in the assembly, I collect riddles from students to tell the school. Another role in the assembly is telling amazing facts about nature and various other things. And here are some amazing facts about our school.
Did you know that with the support of our amazing principal, staff, students, and their families, we have raised more money this year than ever before?
Did you know that all of our classes are doing plays this year and some of us have written our own play?
Did you know that we have had a whole school camp out? Over 400 people came to the movie that was shown, and 250 people spent the night.
Did you know that just about all of our classes are multi-age classes? Having the older kids help teach the younger kids has really been beneficial over the years that I have been at Cherry Valley.
Did you know that we have an award-winning mentor reading program? We are both mentors this semester, helping younger kids develop the crucial skills they need to read. There are over 60 children working on reading after school.
Did you know that we have buddies? Buddies is where older, generally 4th grade and up, kids do fun activities with younger, generally 3rd grade and down, classes.
Did you know that 5 of our classes worked with straw to plant over 150 native trees? Isn't that amazing?
This year in kindergarten and 1st grade, they have been extra busy. They started the year learning about community helpers and even built a city out of cardboard right in the middle of the cluster. They named it Toyon City. All of the K1 students have been working hard to support one of our kindergartners who was injured in a car accident earlier this year. At their annual pumpkin pie social, they collected many items from the family house of Oakland, where her family is staying while she is in the hospital. They are looking forward to her return to school after the new year.
The 2nd and 3rd graders at our school, The 2nd and 3rd graders at our school are studying Miwok and Pomo Indians through storytelling and arts and primary source research. They recently received a major impact grant for a part of 37 Chromebooks. They will be using the Chromebooks for research and creating shareable texts. This overlaps with the work they are doing with the Watershed Education Project.
The 4th and 5th graders started the year off early with their living history trip to Fort Ross. They're continuing this work in learning about missions and ranchos. They are working on an island of the Blue Dolphin projects, and in math they are using number talks to implement the Math Common Core standards. All 3 classes made beautiful clay wall hangings for the holidays.
The 6th graders are in the process of writing their class plays using plot structure as their framework. They are writing and staging 2 plays that have exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and denouement, all parts of plot structure. They have also developed theme and character development in each of their plays. The 6th graders have also taken part in Shaw and Petaluma Bounty as part of their service learning projects. Early in the year, they enjoyed their outdoor education trip to Great Colleges.
The 7th and 8th graders just had a successful pasta and crab feed to support their outdoor education trip this year. Many of the 7th and 8th grade classes have either performed or are working on their plays. Some of the classes are writing their own plays as well, as part of their English studies.
We thank you so much for listening to us this evening. We welcome you to our school at any time, and we'll be happy to show you.
Well, we thank you very much for coming here and telling us what's going on at Cherry Valley. Carvin, thank you very much. All right, let's move on to the Kenilworth Junior High School. We have Kenilworth here.
Kenilworth has had an event-filled month. To celebrate the month of November, our 8th grade students have dived right into the exciting but challenging experience that writing a novel can be. The kids have been spending each day, including most of their English classes, working towards their own personal word goals, some exceeding the adult program requirement of 50,000 words. To support a drug-free and clean lifestyle, the Colts attended an assembly that included police officers and their search dogs. The 7th grade students have had their first ever rally of this year. Many awards for our outstanding students were given away. Lucky winners who received court cards got prizes, including toys and, of course, silly hats. And this year's leadership students have been surprising us left and right, including breaking out into the classic Thriller dance by Michael Jackson at the Halloween rally this past October. All students have been given the option to join the American Math competition, and list has already been completely filled. In order to enter the competition, students were required to pay $2, then try their best at a multiple choice test. Some teachers are even given extra credit for their math students who enter the competition to have towards their grade. Thank you.
And Petaluma Junior High School.
Good evening, board meeting family members. It's hard to believe how fast this semester has gone with just 8 days remaining until winter break. As is true for all schools, November and December are busy months at PJHS. On the sports scene, girls volleyball and boys basketball are in full swing with games today and Thursday for both teams. Our 7th grade teams have played 3 games in our 8th grade too. We have played Tech, Cloverdale, and Sonoma middle schools so far and are undefeated. Go Banthers! Over 60 students and their friends and family members attended our Cal State fundraiser last night, Friday. A good time is had by all, and all proceeds go to PJHS PGSA. PJHS is hosting a parent information meeting tonight for interested incoming 6th grade families. Our 6th grade academy is in its 3rd year and going strong. Additionally, our 6th grade drama elective students will be doing a performance next Wednesday at 7 p.m. in our middle school. Our annual holiday canned food drive started last week. This tradition has been in place for many years at PJHS and benefits 20 to 23 PJHS families with a box filled with everything needed to prepare a holiday dinner, turkey and fixing.
Our evening winter concert is tomorrow evening at 6:30 p.m. in the Multime. Please come out and hear the PJHS band and chorus perform. The music students will also perform 2 concerts for the student body on Thursday morning. Band and chorus students will tour PJHS elementary feeder schools in January to garner interest in music electives. Our winter dance is this Friday with a DJ from Pure Energy Incorporated and a blacklight theme. Tickets are on sale this week and we hope to have a good turnout. Science students are being offered the opportunity to learn about computer programming through an interesting and educational program called the Hour of Code. Students are signing up to participate in the PJHS Computer Lab to learn about exciting careers in computer tech industry. Fast Math, a math facts intervention program with over 24 students enrolled, has graduated this semester's first student from the program. Students are identified by math teachers and assessments and attend Fast Math 4 times a week during SSR to gain automaticity in math facts. PJHS PTSA recently hosted a parent education workshop on identity and social media co-taught by Sonoma State professor Susan Victor and National Board Certified Teacher Librarian Connie Williams. Last but not least, next Friday is the end of the grading period for fall semester. Students are busily completing projects and assignments to earn the best semester grade possible and to bring up grades to be better. Petaluma Junior High wishes you and your family a special holiday season. Thank you.
Well, they weren't here. Okay, Sasha Grande, you got a report from last month?
Good.
Should I pass it out now?
It's up to you. Sure.
Hello again. Justin. 64 third graders from McDowell Elementary School visited Casa Grande for some hands-on experience of high school science in action. The students were divided into 4 groups, which rotated through 4 different learning activities. A tour of the fish hatchery, where they learned about the role of conservation in hatchery resources and preservation, and practice removing and analyzing fish scales. A guided walk through the native plant garden, where they identified several native plant species and gathered seeds from a few select varieties. A visit to our outdoor learning environment known as Olay, where they planted those seeds and assisted with the native plant restoration project, and a stop in a new bar science classroom where they participated in experiments evaluating the water quality and salt content of the Petaluma River. Each pair of McDowell students was matched with a Casa Grande AP Environmental Science class student. The group was chaperoned by volunteers from the community. The trip was sponsored by the Petaluma Chamber of Commerce Business Education Committee and planned by CASA teachers John Shribs, Dan Hubacher, and Tom Griffin, with assistance from volunteers from the Petaluma Wetlands Alliance, Friends of the Petaluma River, and the Petaluma Water Treatment Plant, and the Fish and Wildlife Services. The activities were designed to give the McDowell students some hands-on practice in experimental investigation and introduce them to some practical applications of the fundamental concepts in the 3rd grade science curriculum, and to inspire some positive expectations for their future success in high school, while allowing the high school students to deepen and extend their understanding of their own curriculum in an attempt to make basic concepts understandable to others. On November 16th, 9 selected leaders of the Casa Grande HOSA Future Health Professional Student Organization participated in the Cal HOSA Region 2 Leadership Conference in Walnut Creek that hosted over 150 students from Northern California. They spent the day learning leadership, professional skills, and about the state conference that will be this March in Anaheim. The HI classes had a coin drive for the Philippines that expanded from CASA to Kenworth, Petaluma Junior High School, Meadow, Brain, and other elementary schools, in which they will collect all the money and make a donation from Petaluma schools. Before the Thanksgiving break, Casa Grande Honor Society hosted their annual canned food drive, in which 5,249 pounds of canned foods were collected, filling the truck from the floor to the ceiling. The last Friday before Thanksgiving, Casa Grande had a college sweatshirt day, Spirit Day, in honor of the Casa seniors who were or had applied to a university. During the Thanksgiving break, Casa Grande leadership went to Castle Leadership Conference at James Logan High School, where they learned numerous ways of improving our school leadership along with the entire school, which we soon hope to implement. On Thanksgiving, the leadership students delivered 4 turkey dinners to families in the community with financial struggles as a token of our support. And the following Sunday, they spent the afternoon making gingerbread houses and playing games at the Sunrise Senior Center. Just last week, CASA's Holiday Spirit Week led up to the CASA's 2nd annual holiday fair on Friday, run by 2 high school CASA seniors in the MQ cluster as their senior project. Friday, December 6th was also CASA's 2nd blood drive of the school year, where 65 pints of blood were collected for the blood centers of the Pacific, making CASA one of the leading donating schools in Sonoma County. Currently, Casa Grande leadership students are volunteering at the food pantry on Tuesdays and Olay projects during the weekend, and adopted 2 families from Cops, hoping to spread the holiday cheer and love. In sports, Casa Grande boys and girls soccer season came to an end after a great season. Casa Grande cheerleaders have won 2 out of 2 regional competitions. Their performance is even better than the squad that placed 2nd in national 2 years ago. The undefeated girls have 2 more competitions before attending the national competitions at Anaheim in March. Lastly, Casa football came to an end last Saturday against Miramonte High School for the NCS championship title. The boys won 13 games in a row, making Casa football history. Although the boys do not bring home the first place title, the Casa community is very proud of their tremendous fight and accomplishments. Thank you.
All right, and I lied to you. I have one more thing that we're going to do before we break. Loretta, would you please? We're going to do this a little bit out of order, but I think it's important that we do this in front of as many people as we can.
Hi, my name is Loretta Cruzvay. I have the privilege of being the president of the classified chapter of CSEA here in Petaluma. For anybody who doesn't know who we are, we're the bus drivers, the cafeteria workers, secretaries, ground workers, maintenance staff, custodians, instructional assistant campus supervisors, to name a few titles. This, of course, is my favorite thing to do. I'd like to introduce CSEA's second member of the quarter for the 2013-14 school year, Darla Marshall. Darla, works at the Casa Grande cafeteria. She's currently a cafeteria assistant 3, which means she does most of the cooking for the Casa Grande campus. Darla's been with the district since 2002. She started with the district as a cafeteria assistant 1 at Kenilworth Junior High in April of 2002. She added some hours by getting another job at San Antonio in 2004. She was promoted to cafeteria 2 at Kenilworth Junior High in August of 2006. She was promoted to cafeteria assistant 3 at Casa Grande in May of 2008. And in October, she was promoted to an 8-hour day person at Casa Grande, which is a rare thing in the cafeteria world, I have to say. I worked in the cafeterias here for 13 years. And I never done 8 hours. She has worked for the food services over the summers. Each year the district has had a summer intervention program in summer school since she was first hired. Now to share some of the lovely things that were written about Darla on the nomination form. Darla is a loyal employee that can always be counted on. She comes to work on time every day and works hard. Darla always does her job with a smile on her face and a cheerful attitude. Darla is kind to students and staff. She always goes out of her way to make others feel good. Generous, unfailingly cheerful, kind to everyone, full of spirit, always looks on the bright side, always looks for the best in people. One of her coworkers said, "I would sum Darla up as a glass half full kind of gal." Now I'd like to present Darla with her certificate. Being a member of the course. It was my privilege to tell her last month that she was a member of the quarter, and we got an extra little bonus because 2 of our board members happened to be doing a site visit Casa Grande. So there was a whole group of us that went into the kitchen, and it was awfully nice for you guys to be there.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
It was probably one of the funnest things we've done in a long time. It was really fun.
That's good. And this is always an important event that we have at these board meetings. I think it's very important that we recognize that the school runs because of people. And like we say, the lights are on, it's warm in the building, it's a safe, clean environment where our children are able to learn. And without folks such as yourself, we couldn't do that. So thank you very much. We are going to take a very quick 2-minute break for those students of the month, student leaders, employees of the quarter, folks that may like to sneak out, get a bite to eat, do some homework, get ready for the day tomorrow. We encourage you all to stay. I'd love to have you stay, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to sneak out. Free pass starts right now.
It's the first day.
Start bringing it back.
Figure it out. It's happening too fast.
Are there any empty seats anywhere? All right, somebody wants to sit. It looks like there's some in the back. All right, so we are back and we are now on to item 3. May, do you have a special guest to introduce us to and some Energy Stars?
Yes, I do. So, good evening. I'd like to introduce Jamie King, our energy education specialist. And he has quite the job in the district, and he's very popular, as you may have heard. So he has a very tough job of wrangling and making sure all of our utilities are kept in line and the lowest rates, and he's doing an incredible job. And so tonight we have Mark Starkey here from Synergistic, who's been our partner in this endeavor to recognize several recognitions and awards.
Thanks, Mitch. So,
You're
Jamie, I
welcome.
want to thank you for not freaking out while the door was open.
I was actually.
Ready to go across.
Thank you, Mr. Singh.
Obviously, the emphasis you do a very good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And, I want to acknowledge, like the students were saying, we're talking about the different schools with, you have Casa Grande with the fish hatchery, trying to rebuild habitats. You have Petaluma High School with the museum, explaining about wildlife. It's truly amazing. This just fits right along with everything else that we're doing. I have Mark Starkey here from Synergistics going to explain a little bit about the Energy Star, and also we have another award from Synergistics.
Thank you, Janie. Board President Sanderson, trustees of the board, Superintendent Bowman, faculty and staff, thank you very much for letting me be a part of this accomplishment by the school district this evening. A little over 3 years ago, the district embarked upon an energy conservation program where really the philosophy behind it is the people working with the equipment, the people in the buildings. It's really a behavior program that implements and looks to really equip a conservation culture and energy ethic into each person in the district. And this has been just an outstanding example of what a program can accomplish at Petaluma City Schools. You've been recognized by the EPA and Energy Star, and a lot of you have seen Energy Star labels at home, on your appliances, washer, dryer, refrigerator, and so there's strict codes and standards that you have to accomplish to receive that award for school buildings. What you've been awarded and recognized for by the EPA is a 20% reduction in your usage, and not only does that equate to buildings costing less and reducing your emissions, but also the level of efficiencies. And so each school building is rated between 0 and 100. And to qualify for recognition by the EPA and Energy Star, you have to score, that building has to score 75 or above. And I'm very excited to share with you, and Jamie will go into a little bit more detail, is that all your schools, including the district office, scored 75 and above. You actually, if you equate it to a report card, you really got straight A's. So, it's been a collaborative effort. It's been just an amazing success story in the little over 3 years since implementing this program, of what collaboration, what the people in this district, what the culture has been able to accomplish in really such a short time. And so Synergistic typically recognizes about a handful of school districts in California each year, and tonight we want to recognize Petaluma City Schools. So I'll go ahead and read the plaque. For conserving our nation's precious resources through the excellent implementation of Synergistic's energy management program and serving as a model of energy conservation to fellow educational organizations, Petaluma City Schools is hereby presented the Environmental Excellence Award for outstanding environmental and financial resource stewardship. Congratulations.
So tonight it's my pleasure to present Petaluma City Schools with the EPA 20% Energy Star Leadership Award and the 2013 Leader Top Performer Award. Mr. Shams, can you please come up to accept these awards? So Mr. Shams, if you could stand in front of the camera.
Oh, I can. Let me do it like everybody else.
And then if few moments, you'll be on YouTube.
Very good.
So the first award is the 20% Leader Award, recognizes organization, like Mr. Starkey was explaining, the portfolio of facilities that have reduced their overall 20% in baseline. This is also measured in KBTUs and square footage, and again, 20% in reduction. The second award is our Top Leader Performance Award. And basically what this is like Mark explained, is 25% of the school's energy efficient buildings compared to the K-12 in our geographical area. So just to touch a little bit about the awards. So we're required to meet a scoring system. So the scoring system is 75 to 100. Basically, we had 8 schools that got A's. We scored 100. And I would like to acknowledge the schools. So Casa Grande scored 100. Cherry Valley scored 100. Grant scored 100. McDowell scored 100. McKinley scored 100. McNair scored 100. Pengrove scored 100. And Valley Vista scored 100. Yes. So, and to also add to that, Petaluma City Schools is one of 10 in the state of California to earn this honor.
Great. Very good. Hey, thank you. Oh, you want to take those?
Troy and
You want to take a picture?
Jamie, yes, absolutely.
Take one of those. Get a kid over here.
There we go.
Very good. All right. Thank you very much. All right. How about we take those pictures down there? Might be a little Hey, just a quick comment on that. When they started building the solar panels at Petaluma High School and at Casa Grande as well, I don't know about you guys, but I got a gazillion phone calls about why we're putting covered parking in for kids. It was always about a 10-minute conversation about, no, that's not really how that works, and it's bond money, you have to go through the whole. And at the end of the day, and I don't know exactly what the number is, Steve or Midge, and I don't know there's an exact number, but every dollar that we save by having that door closed goes right back to the classroom. And that was always the goal. It's a little darker, it's maybe a little cooler, but one of the things that people always tell us, I know when I'm standing on the market is, hey, the money needs to be in the classroom. The money needs to be in the classroom. You got to be in the classroom. That's what the stuff. So those guys do a great job, and it's really good. So there we go. I would suggest, I think that was a good idea, Steve, that you had, and I would throw out a motion. Steal. I'll give it to you in a second. Make a motion to, because we've got a lot of people who have been waiting very patiently, to move public comment up. Midge, I'm sorry, before your interim budget certification. I know, because, and those of you, I want to encourage you to stay afterwards if you'd like for that, but let's move public comment up. Is that okay? Is that a motion?
I'll second.
All those in favor of amending for that? All right, okay, good deal. So, with regard to public comment, I've got 4 cards, they all relate to the same thing. Do I have any other public comment that's coming up tonight that's not related to lacrosse? Okay, so there's no other public comment other than these 4 cards. Jill, I'm going to burden you as the leader of this. So I'm going to ask you how you want me to order these.
Okay, so myself first, Todd Salmon second, Jenny Walker third. Would you have a card for Nico or for Ben?
I have a card for Ben. It looks like you.
Can we change that to Nico?
Okay,
Is that okay?
so we'll just cross out Ben and we'll make it change. So Nico, since you're last, would you do me a favor, fill out the card between now and when we get up there? So we pass Nico a card in the back. That'd be great. Y'all, you saw the card I was doing before, and you've been here before. I'm not going to read the multi-paragraph disclaimer. Okay, it's a 20-minute deal, and you guys split it out however you want. Okay? So if you'll start, that would be great.
Okay.
And introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Jill Silverman, and I'm here representing the lacrosse community tonight. Can everyone raise their hand who's part of the lacrosse community? I'm here for that. Okay, so. And I wanted to say, I highly recommend if you're nervous speaking in front of groups, don't ever drink a cup of coffee, because I've learned the hard way. But, all right, so we're here tonight in hopes of making lacrosse a CIF sport at both Casa Grande and Petaluma high schools. I have spent the last 8 months talking to many people about lacrosse, including the administrators of both high schools, our superintendent, our board members, teachers, coaches, parents, and players. And after all of that, I have to say I believe that everyone does truly want what's best for our students. Now, I know that not everyone agrees that we can add lacrosse in a way that is beneficial for everyone. But after doing as much research as I have, I think there is a way to add lacrosse that will benefit both the players, the families, the community, and our schools. So to this end, I'd like to outline what specifically the lacrosse community is hoping to achieve. We would like to gain CIF status so that our students can play against other high school teams that are competitive. We are asking to have a varsity boys and a varsity girls team added at Casa Grande and Petaluma high schools. We are not asking for the schools to provide the funding, the field space, or the equipment. We have a program that has been functioning since 2005, fully funded, with ample field space, gifted coaches, and we're simply asking to be granted CIF status at our schools. So we'd like to suggest the following approach as a way to add lacrosse. And I actually meant to hand out, okay, so pass that around, sure. So if people want to just look at what the points are, the talking points. But so the first point is, these are based on the concerns that I've heard from everyone. So field space seems to be of paramount importance. So as the high school's field space is already extremely limited, the lacrosse teams will practice and host games on the fields they have already been using. For Casa Grande, these are the soccer fields at Casa Grande and Lucchese Field. For Petaluma High School, this would be using Valley Vista for practices and Lucchese Field for home games. The regular lacrosse season consists of 14 league games. This means each team would have 7 home games. We have been clearly told that the school's football fields cannot support another team using it in the spring, and that there really isn't space to have practices at the Petaluma High School. We understand this, and we do not want to negatively impact the space issue at either school, or certainly do anything to damage the football fields. We would be happy to continue using the fields we have already been using successfully. 2, the Youth League would be willing to sign a memorandum of understanding with the district specifying what costs the schools would need reimbursed by the Youth League. This could include the startup costs as well as the continuing costs of running the program, including coaches' salaries, field rental fees, officials' fees, field maintenance and lining, uniforms, equipment, etc. 3, the Commissioner of North Coast Section of CIF, Gil Lemon, has stated that he will create a supplemental lacrosse league if both Casa Grande and Petaluma High School become CIF teams. This supplemental league would most likely operate under the North Bay League, meaning that our athletic directors would not have the added burden of administering a new league or a separate league. 4, we have coaches already familiar with leading these teams. Although the district, of course, would need to hire the coaches they feel are appropriate, we can recommend some really top-notch candidates. Our coaches already run programs that include codes of conduct, they check grade point requirements, and have even run a study hall at CASA to help students maintain their grades. We understand that it is difficult for the administrators of our high schools to create a program from scratch. In many districts, it has taken either the school board or the superintendent to create a memorandum of understanding with the local lacrosse league to make the transition to CIF possible. We have seen many instances of success in this approach. A memorandum of understanding would give us a set period of time to evaluate whether the school could eventually fund and provide field space for the program. If it can't, then the Youth League would continue to reimburse the costs, as they do at Davis High School, and we would continue to use alternate field space as other teams at our schools already do, including swim teams at Casa Grande. The golf programs all must play at other sites other than at home at the schools. If it turns out that the school cannot create the funding, then the memorandum of understanding would have the league continue, oh no, sorry, let me back up. That if the school decides they can fund the program, then over time it could be worked out that the school eventually funds the program, which is the process in the Marin County schools. The deadline to form a supplemental league for spring 2015 is next month. With the holidays fast upon us, we are feeling up against the wall on this issue. I believe there is a way to make this work and benefit everyone. Lacrosse is a growing sport. Santa Rosa Junior College just added a lacrosse team this year. Lacrosse is and has been part of the Petaluma community. Let's try to make it part of our schools as well. Thank you.
I've got a handout too. Pass around.
Sure.
Good. Hi, everybody. Good to see you. My name's Todd Samet. I'm a parent of 3 Casa Grande High School graduates. I've been a high school teacher for 30 years. I've coached 26 seasons of football, rugby, and lacrosse. I'm currently the high school commissioner of the Northern California Junior Lacrosse Association. That's the group that administers the club leagues from underage to high school age lacrosse in the state, in the northern half of the state of California. I'm also a past board member of that same group. It's the 5th time I've addressed the school board on CIF lacrosse. August 2007, twice in June of 2008, and November of 2008. This goes back a ways. Here's the premise. Creating boys and girls lacrosse programs, CIF lacrosse programs, at both high schools in town will be good for our students. It will provide them with constructive experience and hard work and team values, go along with all team sports, right? And it will help connect them and their parents more closely to their school communities. And I'm not sure there's anybody that would necessarily disagree with that statement. So it's really a matter of pros and cons, costs and benefits that we have to weigh. And it's our contention that the benefits of this greatly outweigh the costs. What I'm here to tell you about in my role as a current high school commissioner and past board member is why we need to move to CIF lacrosse away from club lacrosse. Okay? That's sort of my role here. Why our current model for providing lacrosse for the students in Petaluma isn't working. In 2008, there were 153 boys and 116 girls CIF teams in the state of California. In 2013, last year, and I don't have the numbers for this year as yet, there were 214 boys teams and 177 girls teams. In that space of time, that 5-year period, 61 schools added boys and girls lacrosse in the state of California. In 2008, there were 34 boys high school club teams and 27 girls high school club teams in the whole state of California. Last year, there were 36 boys club teams, the number stayed steady, and 27 girls club teams. Did I get that number right? 16, sorry. So that number went down, thanks. Thanks for catching that. And next year, in 2014, this coming season, I'm aware of what's going on at the club level. The Northern California club teams have dropped, high school club teams have dropped from 22 to 16. And we know that the 2 best teams from Southern Cal have also gone CIF. So we're down to whatever that number is. 16 plus, it's 26 teams from 36 in a year's time. Club lacrosse is dying. And pretty soon our kids won't have any options at all to play lacrosse. And they currently don't have competitive options, and the options they have require them to travel all around the state. As far north as Redding, and for state championships as far south as Southern California. To Sacramento regularly. It's not a problem of quantity, it's also a problem of quality. The Club Lacrosse League is made up of teams from communities that are new to the sport. They come into the sport, not able to jump right into the CIF pool, and they have club teams that are supported by the Northern California Junior Lacrosse Association. As those teams get good enough, as they become accepted in the communities, they typically go to CIF status. That's what we as a club league That's our mission, is to get teams to CIF status. Since 2008, the NCJLA has sent 2 teams a year. Northern California Lacrosse Association has sent 2 teams a year to state championships. That's 12 teams over a course of 6 years. 8 of those teams have been from Petaluma. In 2008, Petaluma went to the state championship, finished 4th. The team that won it from Northern California went CIF the next year. In 2009, Casa and Petaluma both went to the state championships, finished 2nd and 3rd. In that same year, the teams that finished 1st and 4th, the 2 Southern California teams, as well as 2 additional teams in their league, went CIF. Additionally, in 2009, the 3rd and 4th place teams from Northern California, we were the 1st and 2nd, also went CIF in the next season. In 2013, Casa and Petaluma both went to the state championships, finished 1st and 2nd. The 2 teams from Southern California are now CIF teams for the 2014 season. We're losing competition. We're playing in an inferior league, and the solution, we believe, is relatively simple. Casa Grande has won 3 of the last 4 state championships. Petaluma in those seasons has been our closest competition. The girls team has won 3 of the last 4 Northern California championships. We need a better league to play in, and you guys are our only resource. Why can 217 other communities in the state support, school districts in the state support CIF lacrosse? We can figure out a way to do that. I hope you'll help us out. Thanks.
Hello, and thank you to the board for allowing us to address you this evening. My name is Janie Walker, and I am a parent of a Petaluma High School junior. This will be his 3rd year playing varsity boys lacrosse. I also have an 8th grade daughter who's enrolled to play this year in the girls league. I want to talk to you tonight about CIF lacrosse. It's good for our students, and it's aligned with the district and site mission and vision statements. And this is how lacrosse matches our mission and vision. Both Petaluma City Schools and both high schools share the common philosophy of personalizing the learning experience for our students. Personalization is important because it helps students feel a deeper connection to their schools. And in some cases, it provides the motivation they need to stick with school if and when they encounter difficulties. As a member of the Petaluma High School School Site Council, this is a topic we have discussed. The magic number, I learned at a meeting, is 2. Students who are engaged in 2 extracurricular activities at their schools almost always finish school and graduate. Each high school's athletic department also has a mission statement, both of which are very similar. Athletics play a major role in the educational process. They provide challenging and meaningful experience. They share in the educational mission of the PCSD, offering opportunities to experience interpersonal growth and social development and improve physical and mental health. They provide campus and community building. They foster a sense of school spirit and tradition. They strengthen the ability of young men and women to manage their lives and fulfill their potential as students, athletes, and citizens. So given these factors, the addition of lacrosse presents a wonderful opportunity for the district, the 2 high schools, and their athletic departments to continue fulfilling their mission and vision by presenting students with another opportunity to deepen their connections to their school as a support to the broader educational process and to enhance their overall personal development. Your students have already demonstrated interest in the sport, and they desire for it to be recognized officially by their respective high schools. I'm on the PHS School Site Council. Our educational delivery model has recently been revamped with the 4 C's: critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. They've identified these skills as the foundation for student success, and Petaluma High believes that every child is critical, and they're committed to serve the students by making an effort by the counselors, the teachers, and the administrators to connect every student to a non-academic element. If we ask ourselves whether or not adding lacrosse is in the best interest of this significant group of students, which is our common goal, I think the obvious answer is yes. I think that if we as adults can utilize some of these 4 C's, we can find creative solutions to the challenges to implement this sport at each school in ways that don't create a detriment. Let's not let the perfect become the enemy of the good, and instead let's focus on finding solutions. Why would we not do that? We have an up and running program that's beneficial to a large number of your students, and your future high school students too, that is supported by the community, and it could be improved by the elevation to CIF status. Why would we not want to implement it? Lacrosse is one of the fastest growing sports in the nation. Over 200 high schools in California have found a way to sponsor lacrosse for their students. Why shouldn't we? So we are here thanking you for your time and respectfully asking for your support in granting lacrosse CIF status for 2015. And I would also like to introduce Nico Rispetto, who is a student, who can come and speak to you from the students. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nico Rispetto. I'm a senior at Petaluma High School. I'm going my 4th year playing lacrosse for the PYL, which is Petaluma Youth Lacrosse. And as a student athlete, I've played football. I play football at Petaluma High School. And I can definitely say that playing lacrosse is much different than playing any other sport. I mean, I feel there's just being on a club team is just you won't get the same experience as you do from playing for your school, to have your name, the Petaluma Trojans or the Casa Grande Gauchos. And both programs, Petaluma and Casa Grande, have proven to be, they've been successful these past, I don't know, since 2008 we've gone to this, each Petaluma team is either Casa Grande or Petaluma has gone to the state championship. And that's proven more successful than most teams CIF at Petaluma High School or Casa Grande. So I feel like people, like Jenny said before, the community definitely does support us. Playing on the field, when we play Petaluma versus Casa Grande, it's called the Battle of the Paddle. When we play there, I see more people show up to that game than I do any other sport, any big game. It's just as big as how the Egg Bowl used to be for when it came to football, even bigger. And just being able to call ourselves the Trojans or the Gauchos is just a totally different feeling than being Petaluma and Casa, how we go by our club names. And in regards to competition, my freshman year, we started out, I think we went with two wins, and Casa Grande ended up winning the state championship. For these past 2 years, both teams have gone onto miraculous seasons, winning 90% of their games, if even more. And I just feel like that's kind of not fair to the players who are spending so much time and commitment practicing on the field, doing 2-3 hours per day, including conditioning, practicing their stick skills, all this that they have to do to be successful in lacrosse, and having to go up to showing up to a game, blowing out a team, barely breaking a sweat, and going home with a W. I mean, a win is nice. Going to the state championship every year is nice, but where do you gain out of that? I'm kind of like going CIF. There's so much more competition, so much faster of a game, and you get more like exposure. Say someone wants to go off to play college lacrosse, you're not really going to get that many recruiters or anyone getting as much acknowledgement playing club lacrosse as you do playing CIF. I mean, of course you can do summer lacrosse, all these tournaments, but that's an additional $800 to $1,000 when you can just play straight up CIF lacrosse and go to the state championship if you're good enough. And especially in California, where we're one of the biggest states in the United States, making the state championship, that's a big deal. So just going CIF, I just feel like that's just the next step. We're kind of up against the wall right now with club lacrosse. Like it was stated before, club lacrosse is dying. Casa Grande and Petaluma both beat 2 Southern California lacrosse teams last year in the Final Four championship. Those teams continued on to CIF, where, as proven, we, Casa Grande and Petaluma, are the 2 better teams, and we're still club lacrosse, which is kind of inevitable that we are left. We're pretty much the best teams left in our NCJLA and pretty much club lacrosse in California. So by going CIF, by having competition, we're not only becoming better athletes, we're becoming better people because we know how to take on more challenges. It's kind of preparing us for life. We know we don't expect just to walk over anybody. We take on these challenges, we're willing to take on these challenges, we want to take on these challenges, and we just want to become a better program overall. We have the talent as proven, we have the coaches as proven, we have the community support. I mean, I was here about a month ago for a board meeting, and maybe these two front rows
They probably didn't know you were going to.
I mean, just all these people are here wanting to support Petaluma and Casa Grande lacrosse as a CIF sport, not a club sport. And just taking on that next step, I know that with your support, with your help, CIF lacrosse is most definitely in our near future. So thank you.
He had no idea he was speaking.
Right off the cuff?
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so we're going to back to the first interim, but I will share with you, this will come up a couple more times in this agenda or some discussion thereof. So I'm going to break real quick for anybody that needs to get home. We're going to move back to the first interim report. I will invite you, as I invited everybody before, but I would invite you to stay as long as you like. This will come up in at least one other, I suspect. There'll be an additional opportunity to speak and comment, at least one other place in this agenda. So I'm going to take a real quick break for anybody who at 7:20 needs to be doing some pre-finals week studying. Charlotte walks.
Oh, this
All right,
is
so I just
probably
have
a little bit
request for
awkward.
moving the agenda around a little bit to accommodate a longer meeting than we expected, out of respect for the people that are here to do some presentations. So item L, let's see, business services, item 3, donations. If we can handle that right now, that would be great. And then as well, Sherry had a item that she would like to pull off a consent and make it a hold item so we can.
And I'm trying to find it.
Business service.
Under,
or
it was above K. The NJ, number 3, class plan management
J3.
salary schedule, I just had a question.
So J3 and L3 we would like to move. Well, see, L3 I'd like to move for now. And then J3 I'd just like to make a hold item. So I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It is done. So if we could move right now to item, business services, item 3. Is somebody introduce this for me or?
Yep.
Who, you? Mitch?
Okay, yes. We have a group who has done fundraising named Cruising the Boulevard, and they have 2 AED devices that they would like to donate to each junior high. So I'm sorry, but I don't know your name, but I'd like to invite you up to do your presentation.
Hello, my name is John Furr. This is Wayne Van Patten, my wife Joetta, and Eldine. We're all board members of Cruising the Boulevard. I'm sure we've been up here before. Just to let you know, since we started this organization in 2006, our main goal has been to place AEDs around the city of Petaluma, and so far we have placed over 50 of them.
Hey John, for the public watching, AEDs?
AEDs are automatic external defibrillators. They're the devices that shock your heart back in case you have a heart attack or something. This time we've purchased 2 more AEDs. We'd like to have these placed in the junior highs, Kenilworth and Petaluma Junior High. We have placed 3 in each one of the high schools in town so far. Okay, this is a donation that we would like to make to go into the junior highs. And we will continue to place AEDs around the city of Petaluma as long as we can keep going with our car show.
Well, we gratefully accept this.
Well, thank you. These are California certified. You don't need to do anything with them except hang them on the wall. There is an inspection sheet inside there that needs to be filled out. I think it's on a monthly basis. Somebody just has to make sure that the little light inside the AED is blinking.
We have a budget report coming up. Could you have one ready for Steve?
Ready to go. I have a quick question. Does someone have to be trained on using?
No, these are actually, let me pull one out. Now that we have some time, I didn't want to take too long.
Thank you for your patience.
No problem. These are actually very simple to operate. A 5-year-old child can operate it. You just basically pull it out, hit the button. Yep, come on.
Call for help. Remove pads from package in back of unit. Apply pads to patient's bare chest as shown.
And basically, once you've done that thing,
Apply pads to patient's bare.
the machine will not shock you unless you need to be shocked. So basically, you don't need any training, although some of our board members are trained. You don't need to be trained. You just grab them off the wall, use them. Thankfully, none of the 50 that we have placed have ever been used. But in case they need to be, they are here.
Where would you put that? Is that
In the gym.
In the gym?
Hanging on
Yes.
the wall?
Yeah, hang them in the gym.
Like by the
They can be
fire
alarmed, these aren't, but they can be set up with alarms on them.
Right.
So when the door opens up, the alarm goes
poles?
off.
You put them by the fire poles, the fire alarm poles?
We'll see what the best place to place them is, because you have to hang them on the wall
Yeah.
to make them safe. But yeah, they'll be visible and known to the people who are attending events.
A lot of the times they go right next to a fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
Sure.
The
Yeah.
box.
And then what about the batteries? It probably warns when the battery's low? Or?
The battery, there's a 9-volt battery in here that sets the little light off. That's why you need to check it every once in a while. The main battery lasts about 6 years. They're about $150 to replace. And when it goes bad, it will definitely tell you. I found that one out with the one that's in my house.
When that's deployed, does it automatically like send a
No.
signal out or anything?
No, it doesn't.
So you still have to...
You still have to call. Okay.
Okay, but it'll actually know when to shock somebody. when
Yes,
not to?
it won't shock you
trying to
unless
do
it actually can tell if there's a heartbeat or not.
We can't try it on you.
There's been a couple of times that we'd like to. But no,
You can't
they're-
fake your wife out with it.
Yeah. Like I said, luckily that we haven't had to use any of them. I know there was the case in Runner Park with the gentleman, or young kid that got hit in the chest with the ball.
Oh, right.
If there's been an AED present, luckily there was a tech there that was there to help them. So, but we have read stories back east where the kids have been playing basketball and just fall down on the court and they don't have an AED and they don't make it. So.
Is that
luckily-
your mission statement, to provide AEDs to public?
It's not our mission statement, it's our goal. And like I said, we've placed, every one of our Petaluma police cars has got an AED in it now, and our officers are all trained. They're the first responders.
Visitor center?
The visitor center's got them, Lucchese Park's got them. Like I said, all the high schools have them. The Mary Isaac Center's got one, 2 of them. So, yeah.
And we bought them for traveling teams also.
Yeah, the
So
ones in
if
the
our
high school.
kids go somewhere else, they've got one. We finally bought ourselves one, because we go to enough events, we carry one.
Yeah.
Well, what a noble cause.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, we place them and hope they never get used. They're about
The cross has
12.
5 of them that we carry in our bags.
Yeah.
In the
Oh,
bags,
yeah.
yep. Yeah, because getting hit in the chest with a ball carries some risk with it.
Absolutely.
So I didn't have to
We have one more that we're gonna give out, and that's gonna go to St. Vincent's Junior High, so all the high schools and all the junior highs will be covered.
And the cost?
Yeah, what are they gonna cost?
They're about $1,200 a piece. Actually, closer to 13.
With the case and everything?
Yeah, with them.
That's very generous.
This year, they changed the regulations, they have to be California certified. I don't know there's just all the stuff that goes inside of it, it's nothing more than really paperwork type thing.
We're somewhat familiar with California paperwork.
So-
We actually
We have that next on the agenda, actually.
So anyway, I'd like to give these to you, put it back in the box for you.
Before you go, tell us a little bit about Cruising and the next one. And
Cruising the Boulevard is an all-volunteer 501c nonprofit. There's 11 board members now. And we host Petaluma Salute to American Graffiti. It's a car show and cruise, and it's held in the third weekend in May, and it's been a very popular event. We started it in 2006 was our first one. We drew 125 cars the first year, and this year we're going to be close to 400. Actually, probably closer to 450. That's, our police department wants to go that high. So, hold this for a second.
We've had people from 8 countries here at different times. I mean, it's amazing. You sit in there, especially when we're selling merchandise and things like that, and people are showing you their passports, where they're from. I mean, the movie American Graffiti is very, very popular still today. Be able to film right here, it really works. Sure.
And the event has drawn people from all over the world, and we've actually had a classic car owner drive his car in from Pennsylvania to just to our event. He said when he left his house, there was 2 feet of snow on the ground. So it's a very popular event and just gets bigger every year.
So you're all lined up for the third weekend in May?
Third weekend in May.
17th.
16th and 17th.
Say it with the camera.
16th and 17th in May. Hope to see you all down there.
Yes, thank you so much.
We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Nice.
And again, thank you for your patience. We really appreciate it. Okay.
Yeah, we have to vote on motion to.
I'll take a motion. So moved. All those in favor?
Aye.
We accept. That's just a gracious. Okay, now, work with me for a second because I'm completely lost. Now we bounced around 3 times on an electronic agenda that I've never used before. So, hang on just 1 second. So we've got to be somewhere near, so we did comments, we're back to Midge.
Certificate for
Dun, dun, dun. Where's the music?
We're back to Midge.
Dun, dun, dun.
We circle back to Midge.
Okay,
Here,
are
I
you
get
sure
it.
now?
Okay.
Okay, because I can wait.
Dun, 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 dun. Music.
Okay.
I listen to you.
All right. Okay, just waiting for it to come back up here. Here we go. All right. Well, let's see. It always helps when the room clears out because my public speaking skills get better. Forget the coffee thing. So, anyway, so here we are, first interim report for 2013-14. So the future looks a little bit brighter than it has. And we knew that when the state adopted the 2013-14 budget, that the governor and the governor was being very conservative in his revenue projections. Everyone felt that they were very low. And so coming to fruition, right now the estimates are up, exceeding the budget by $4.7 billion. And that's largely due to capital gains and personal income tax, but it's offset by lower corporate income tax and sales tax. And one of the things that they did in order to try to bolster the economy in the previous year was to recognize corporate income in the last year. So now they're recognizing losses and offsets against that in this year. So that's part of the reason why corporate taxes are down. But we also know that when you talk about capital gains being a huge part of this, you're talking about one-time money and it's extremely volatile. And we've been down the path of counting on that type of revenue at the state level being ongoing. Well, it's not ongoing, and that's one of the reasons why we had significant issues in the early 2000s and took a serious hit after that. So, there's my little danger. There's the nice, and we better, view this with caution, and hopefully we've learned from the past. So overall, when you look at the legislative analysts and the Department of Finance, They do a final analysis for the prior year, 12-13, and Prop 98 is owed $1.7 billion. And then with the increase in revenues in the current year, there's another $2.7 billion. And looking at the projection for 14-15, they're estimating that there would be another $4.2 billion higher. So when you look at that, that's over $8 billion. Now, obviously we can't get too excited about 14-15 yet, but those are the projections, those are the trends. And obviously, those are based on other things like housing starts and construction and things like that. So if we're going to see $8 billion, that would be really nice, but how would we see them? We might, the governor might just focus again on his wall of debt. I mean, it's still out there. They're still paying it off. Right now, they still owe K-12 over $11 billion, and that's due to the deferrals and the unpaid mandated cost claims that have been out there for years and years. We might see additional funds come in the way of one-time money for the Common Core state standards implementation. Right now, you know that we just got about $1.5 million, and that's not covering the cost of what we need to do with regard to infrastructure and technology and staff development for our teachers to get everybody where they need to be next year in 14-15 when the new testing comes on board. And then lastly, hopefully, we will see an augmentation for the local control funding formula. As you know, there's only a portion, there's a target amount of where we need to be, but we're only getting a sliver of that in this current year. So given that there's substantial amount of money, hopefully, some of that is at least ongoing, and they could fund something that would be ongoing, such as that. Because everything else would be this bucket and this bucket, the Common Core, those would be one-time expenditures, and that's okay for one-time, capital gains money to be spent on.
So Mitch, going
Yes.
back to that just for a second, you're saying there's $11 billion out there that's owed to the districts from the state?
Yes.
Okay. And so our piece of that would be about $11 million, wouldn't it? You know about how the math works? Pretty close to that?
Yes, usually it's about that.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
9 to 12.
Yeah, I mean, if you consider, everything that's owed, including mandate, that would be right, because if you add in mandates, that's about right.
So how would that come out if it ever does, as far as what is mandated and what's not mandated? In other words, is it all for pencils and paper, or is that money, I always forget the word, directed to specific activities and?
Well, not really, because basically this is reimbursing us for things that we were required to do in previous years. So basically the general fund covered those costs. This comes into the general fund.
It will come in unrestricted?
Yes, it will.
That's the word.
Yes. And currently now, we've gone away from that filling out the forms and tracking your time model. The state implemented the block grant for mandated costs. And at least we're getting money now for those mandates, and it does come in the unrestricted bucket of money.
So if that were to start coming back, how would we know, how far in advance would we know that? In other words,
well,
in 2014, when there's estimated to be
right.
much more money?
We might know come January when the governor does an update and a proposal for the 14-15 budget. He may share then that it's now time to start paying down that portion of the wall of debt. So we'll see.
I'm embarrassed, I should know this, but do we actually carry that on the books?
No, we do not.
So we don't even carry it for accounting purposes, we don't even think we're gonna do it?
No, for years now, we used to budget it.
Well, I just mean carry it as a receivable.
Nope.
But it's on the
budget sheet where you have the 3 years out, it shows the percentage, that 18.9% deficit, that part, isn't that?
That's not the deferrals though.
Oh, that's not the
Nor,
deferrals?
nor is it the unpaid mandates.
Yeah.
That's the unpaid cost of living adjustments
Right.
that the state, they
And
cut us.
those are what they were talking about getting us whole by 2020.
Yes. Correct, that comes under the local control funding formula.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, so there's even more than that?
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there a way for you to know?
How much we're owed under the mandate. I could go back and see if I could figure that out. But part of the problem is they've done all these offsets. You know, some of these claims, they get approved and then they get challenged. And then there's these offsets. So it's kind of hard to know. But in the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years, we've gone to only accounting for them strictly on a cash basis. We only see it when we see the green of the paper coming, so, yeah. Okay. Not sure why it's not going. Okay, so, I want to talk a little bit about where we are as far as average daily attendance. You can see I have it broken out by each of the different charters, districts. Starting with the elementary, the current year is being funded on the prior year ADA. We're in a little bit of a decline. And this number, although it's up by 8 ADA from when we adopted the budget. And this went up a little bit because we did a, when Pengrove became a charter, that transition out, you deduct that prior year impact. So you don't get funded for the charter conversion. In 2014-15, we're growing just by a little bit. And then in that should be 15-16, not 14-16. We're going to be funded on this year's ADA again. Looks like we're going to have a little dip. In Cherry Valley, relatively flat, you know, in the low 400s. And they're up 5 since we adopted the budget.
And what's the current value of one ADA in the elementary district?
Oh my God. Well, that is the question of the day. Yeah, actually, I'm going to get to that in a little bit. Yeah, I have a subsequent slide that actually gives you a variety, and maybe you could take a dart and throw the dart, and we'll see which one it lands on. So, Pengrove Charter came in. We adopted the budget at 423, and it's down to 400. So we were a little bit optimistic on what they would have, and so.
We projected that we were going to lose the third kindergarten, just in total.
Oh.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So, and it's remaining a little bit flat, and as you'll remember, charter schools, if they go into a decline, don't have the luxury or the protection of being funded on the prior year ADA. So that is what their actual projection is, and so you can see a small decline in 15-16. For 6th grade academy, we're down a little bit, and we just kind of project them out flat. Gateway to College, we anticipated twice the enrollment that we have in this year here. It's going through the typical charter startup and recognition and credibility, typical of a new charter. And so we're increasing their prospective ADA a bit more conservatively, and hoping to get the word out. And there's some really great things happening with those students. There's letters to the editor that they did as part of their English class project that got published, and those are really great. These kids are kids who were not attending high school at all, and now some of them have absolutely perfect attendance, and they have competitions going on. So
It's really been an incredible program and a great link to the junior college. So hopefully these numbers in the out years will get better, but we'll see. Secondary ADA. This is up by 91 from when we adopted the budget. And so the budget's been adjusted to reflect that. And then we have growth in the out years. So you can see our total ADA, our net increase over the prior year is down here. And you have to remember too that we're including Gateway to College in these numbers. And those students are really at the junior college, and the funding that we get is really a pass-through to the JCs. So they're really not a real financial impact one way or the other. So here's the dartboard. Okay, are you ready, Troy?
I'm ready.
All right, so we looked at several different models. School Services of California and FCMAT, the Fiscal Crisis Management Assistance Team, provided two different mechanisms to estimate what we would be seeing under the local control funding formula. And for the elementary district, I looked at the School Services of California low estimate for the LCFF. I looked at the high estimate and also the FCMAT estimate. And here you can see, here's our multi-year projections, 14, 15, 15, 16. And out here, what I didn't do is
What's the top number?
the top number, this is what the budget is based on.
What's the unit number?
This one, you know what, I should have put it in, but I didn't. This is based on $6,385 in the current year. And then I have these figures in the spreadsheets that have been given to you, and the for the revenue limits. And let me see where they are. Okay, so the low here is 6,385. In 14-15, the low is 6,497. And you can see School Services has a huge gap in the elementary when you compare that. It's several $100s. That can mean a lot of money adding up over these cumulative years. And you look, when I do the math between the low and the high version of School Services, elementary could add $1.2 million if we wind up being funded on the high end. Now, whether or not we're going to see that remains to be seen.
I just want to say for those watching at home, the state of California isn't going to tell us what we're going to get funded at this year until June. So it's not that we're not capable, it's just that they haven't told us. So it seems confusing, like the dartboard thing. It's just that they don't know. So that's what it is.
Usually we talk about dartboards for future years, not for the year that we're operating in.
Right.
So think in terms of working for 6 months, not knowing what you're going to get paid, living your life, spending your money, and at the end of 6 months, they tell you what you got paid.
Right.
Well, it's because they're collecting tax receipts, right? It's not until they collect a certain amount or something?
No,
or-
they changed the funding formula and they haven't gotten all of the information from, a lot of it's charter schools, because in the past, charter schools didn't address free and reduced students because they didn't participate in the National School Lunch Program. Well, now those students are worth money in the local control funding formula, so they're claiming those students. The state doesn't know what the number is, so now they have to calculate that into it. That's probably the biggest single factor as to why the state doesn't know. They know how much money is available. They don't know how much every district is going to get because they don't know the total supplemental portion for charter schools.
Right. So typically when we're presenting this financial information, our variable is our average daily attendance.
Right.
So it's,
Now you have 2 days.
yeah, that's fun. So, but you can see that there is a significant gap. And then FICMAT in the current year has an estimate of over $6,633. Well, these are the total amounts that it would translate into in the financial statements. And I've shown the difference between this and this, which is 46.6, and then between this and this amount, it's over $413,000.
Elementary district only.
This is just the elementary district. I scratch my head a little bit on this gap because it doesn't, I don't know, it's so significant. I don't know, it makes me nervous. So that's why we went middle of the road. Not too high, not too low. So, and then you can see in the out years, this is 6,497. And this is what we've based the multi-year projections on with these revenues. And then this year is 6,609. Well, now you look at 6,609 compared to the school services high estimate of over 7,000. It's huge money. And then when you add this across, okay, that's over $2 million right there. That would add to our unrestricted, unappropriated ending fund balance. It's a huge swing. So, anyway, so I wanted to kind of give you an overview of what we're dealing with in the different models that we've been looking at. So school services low was the one that we went with for the elementary district. On the high school district, and again, the high school district is a challenge because our 7th and 8th grade are funded at the higher rate. We participated in virtually every categorical program you could. We had adult ed in there. And so we were very high. And that's why the secondary or the high school district is going to be getting the bump, an additional bump with the economic recovery payment over and above what they would, because we wouldn't really receive any additional funds based on this new funding model. So under this model, in the current year, oh, there it is. Okay, this amount here per ADA is $7,375. So if you look at the FICMAT amount compared to the school services low amount, there's a $17 difference. Not very much. And then the school services high, I mean, these, I don't have any difference. When you look in the out years, let's see, the FICMAT number is $7,375. Oh no, that's the current year. Sorry, $7,688 would be this per ADA amount. And then you can see that the school services low amount is $7,471, and then the high amount. And then in the out year, $7,980 is the funded amount for the high school district in 1560. So those are our ranges that we're working with. And you can see the differences. This compared to what's budgeted on the high side is only an $83,000 difference. In this year, if we use the school services low, but this doesn't take into account the economic recovery component, you go down by $931,000. And then in this model, you would go down by another $96,000. So it's really hard to figure out where we're going to land here. So it's a ballpark. So the amounts for charter school revenues, we use the School Services of California. Our unknowns, again, include the Pengrove charter conversion, because we don't know what the prior year base per ADA amount is going to be based on. Are they going to base it on what our elementary district received? I don't know. They don't know. They really don't know how they're handling charters. And then the gateway to college, again, what are they gonna base the base year on? Is it gonna be our high school district? Well, that would be nice. But if you look at their dartboard just for charter schools alone, it's below what our high school district would be getting. So, we'll see. The multi-year projections, they include the normal step and column salary changes for all staff. We have no increase for health benefits in the subsequent years, in 14-15 or 15-16. We assume 180 school days and 3 staff development days. We have incorporated what I've shown you on the local control funding formula, and it's really does not equate to the COLA. So there's a COLA that's listed, there's a statutory COLA that's estimated, but we're not basing it on that. We've included the revenue transfer for adult education of $643,000. We are required to do that for the current year and next year, and then that program is possibly going to be conjoined with the community college district, and there's discussions and planning happening with that. The revenue transfer to deferred maintenance, as you remember, now that everything comes to us under the local control funding formula and it's not a standalone categorical program, we as a district and as a board need to set deferred maintenance as a priority to fund taking care of our facilities.
I think that's a huge deal.
It is.
It's going to be so easy for us to not paint the house for another year.
Right.
To me, that's the biggest flaw of the control piece, is that I think,
Right.
is that, you know, there are times when you do need to go to it. There are times when you do, your brother will tell you you need to do something, and it's just going to be so easy for us to not do that.
Right.
The Taxpayers Association has come out in the past and chastised districts for not doing deferred maintenance, not protecting the public assets.
It's just going to be so easy to decide to spend it.
Well, most people don't understand the inherent hidden cost of that.
Right.
Deferred maintenance, it's the
Is
decline.
looking at the Petaluma City streets.
Exactly.
Sure.
There's a classic example. It goes from being a small problem to a huge problem.
So will we be looking at some type of a policy of the directive of percentages, or can
Well,
we get some mirroring of
the
what
deferred
we required
maintenance-
before?
Historically, deferred maintenance has been 1/2 of 1% of the general fund, matched by the state. So end up with basically 1%
1%.
And
of the general fund in deferred maintenance.
that's 1/2 of 1%.
That's only 1/2 of 1%, so that would only be half of it.
Right, so we will need to have the discussion about what we do as a district and what you decide as a board our priority is. Does that need to double?
Sure. I'd like to
Yeah.
have a specific discussion and start with.
Exactly right.
Right, and that's going to all be incorporated in the local control accountability plan. So we'll be running that through the district leadership.
But if they don't address it, I agree, sure, we definitely will address it.
And remember, the district leadership plan, the LCAP is advisory to the board. It'll establish the LCAP.
All I want for Christmas is a new pointer. It's not working. Okay. All of no, I changed that. So it's not the battery, it's goofy. Anyway, all of the revenues and expenses are pretty much are relatively flat. The required reserve is met in all years, and our cash balance is positive, which is a huge improvement over
Now-
where we've been.
And again, the buy down of the deferrals by the governor has eliminated, to a great extent, our cash flow issues that we've suffered over the last several years.
The buy-downs of the deferral.
Correct. So part of that wall of debt, the significant part of the wall of debt is the state wasn't giving us the money the year that they owed it to us. They give it to us after the year, up to 40% of resources that they owed us.
It's huge.
So they bought that down now, so they're giving most of the money in the year that they owe it.
I'm just laughing at the term, the buy-down.
At the deferrals. So part of the
Sounds so
governor's,
positive.
the governor's going to, in all likelihood, part of the wall of debt that he's been addressing is is the buy down and deferral. So he's planning on, by 2016, eliminating those, but with the additional resources, my guess is that he's going to pay off the deferrals first. That will free up money in future years.
What's the required
Some of the
reserve?
fund all the mandates.
What's
What's the required reserve?
The required reserve is 3% of our total expenses. So, for example, we're at like 66 million. Our reserve, 3% of that is like 2.2 million.
When we didn't have deferrals, we used to live very close to that 3% the third year out. The problem is with the deferrals, we would have been cash broke. We would not have been able to make payroll in June if you were trying to live on 3% reserve, because about 90% of our needed fund balance was an IOU from the state, not cash.
So you're saying by being cash positive, you're getting that money from the state?
Yes.
Yeah, by getting money from the state, now our cash position is great.
I mean, our employees will let us pass on the state IOUs.
That's why I've asked them that several times, if they would accept the state
Vote that down every
IOUs
time, do they?
in June. Yeah, for final check.
Yeah. So, and lastly, all other funds have a positive ending fund balance. Let's see. So this is what our ending balance trends looks like for this moment in time. You can see that we have a $2.9 million in deficit spending, but about $1 million of that is from prior year carryovers. So right now, after we've made our adjustments, I shared with you earlier that we increased our ADA. And so that added a significant bump up in our revenues. And so what happened is when we adopted the budget, we were deficit spending by about $2.8 million. And that was adding back all the days, increasing health benefits, having staff development days, which is all in place now. And so our actual deficit spending has gone down by $1 million, and so it's about $1.8 million. Okay? So if you net that negative against our beginning balance, we're projecting an ending fund balance of $8.5 million. And after our reserves, which we talked about being the 3%, which is just over $2.2 million, the rest of this is pretty much made up of the parcel tax reserve for future cost escalations. So that's what that reserve is. There's a very small amount in there remaining for retiree benefits. We're really whittling down that amount as we continue in the years out. And so we're looking at the current year as having a $5.1 million unappropriated, unrestricted reserve at this point in time. And again, this is all contingent on those revenues, which could change significantly. Going out to 14-15, because we've modified, we looked at the CBEDS data and we updated our 9-year enrollment projection. And so ADA is not climbing as it was we originally projected in 14-15 and 15-16. So what you see is when we were planning on breaking even in this year, that change in ADA shows us deficit spending. And again, we're being very conservative with our revenues up here, so that could change very easily. And then again, in 15-16, we have a very slight deficit spending in that out year. So again, we're meeting our reserve requirement, and we have money in excess of the required reserve.
Which is good, given that we don't really know what
Right.
income is going to be.
Right. So in January, the governor will be proposing again the 14-15 budget. Bless you. The local control accountability plan process is underway with the expanded district leadership team. We've met twice, and we will be meeting every month with the exception of January, the first Tuesday of every month. So our next meeting is February 4th, and we'll know more about that come January and March as the State Board of Education releases guidelines and templates for us to use in adopting the local control accountability plan. That is it, folks. And do you have any questions? Yes.
So Mitch, do you see, is this trend, I have a little faith in this state when it comes to school budgets or any other budgets, but local control funding formula, is that going to be a misnomer? I mean, are we going to find ourselves with more strings or less strings from the state?
Well, right now, the state board has come out with some preliminaries, and it's really focusing on the supplemental component of the local control funding formula and not the entire amount that we're being funded. However, having said that, if we go back to these slides showing, I still am working on a per ADA basis on this. Do you remember me showing you earlier, there's a base amount, there's a K3 add-on, there's a CTE add-on, you get a total, subtotal there, and then you look at your population of socioeconomically disadvantaged and EL and foster kids, and you get 20% of whatever on that base. Right now, we don't have that kind of breakdown to know what is in that supplemental bucket to begin with. So.
But I was thinking more like restrictions, categoricals. I mean, are we going to be freed up as a board to make more decisions where our particular district needs the money? Or is it going to be this one-size-fits-all state?
The initial report or proposal from the State Board of Education, and that's what the legislators kicked it to at the end of the budget process last year, was what we would like to see in regards to a lot of flexibility at the local level. But you've since then seen the leadership in the Senate and Assembly come out and say they don't think that's in keeping with the intent, and if the state board proceeds in this, they'll pass laws to make it more restrictive.
Okay.
And so
So much for the local control.
So
Yeah,
that
so it's a
portion of the
misnomer.
local control on supplemental funds will be impacted if they carry out with their threat.
But it's also.
And if the governor would prove that, because the governor may, even if they take that action, he might veto it to leave local control in place.
But it's also going to be subject as we go on years from now. Every time there's a fed something that needs to be done, it'll get whittled away. It's like the past where we want to socially engineer something, so now we're going to change the local control funding formula to make sure though that this piece goes to
Right. Well, in that discussion we had earlier about deferred maintenance is a perfect example. If assets aren't being taken care of, then that's where you reinvent the wheel, so to speak.
And then my second question is, do we have in our overall budget, do we have, in your mind, an unfunded poison budget item, like an unfunded pension problem, or one of these things that nobody has to put on the books, but we all know it's out there?
There is talk about what they're going to do with PERS and STIRS, and there's a new GASB, Governmental Accounting Standards Board pronouncement that is basically going to take what's currently at the state level an unfunded liability and push it down to the districts. And so that will be an interesting impact on whether or not that's just an audit item that gets reflected just in our once-a-year financial document, or whether or not it has a real fiscal impact on us, we really don't know at this
How to
time.
make a reserve disappear item is what it is. And I'm just curious if we're facing down that parallel, because that's a big one.
That's a good question. So,
Any other
Okay,
questions?
thanks, Mitch.
Yeah.
you're most welcome.
Yes, thank you for
Yes.
all that.
You're
Thank
most
you.
All right, so we actually will approve this further along the.
Later in the
Down
agenda,
the
yes.
agenda.
Just like the state, we'll kick it down the road.
Kick it down.
There you go. All right, so we're going to move to reports of activities and correspondence of school board members. Correct, Mike? Is that right?
I think we're right on.
That's what I'll do this as a team. I've been handed a list. Some board activities. SCO sexual harassment training, district leadership team meeting, site visit with the Live Oak Charter School folks, Junior high school basketball games, Petaluma High School showcase, Kaya varsity boys basketball tournament, Chico Petaluma High School varsity girls basketball tournament. The dulcet tones of Mr. Badley announcing the Petaluma High School varsity girls basketball teams at Petaluma High School. Computer training workshop and some meetings with some of the class representatives. So,
There you go.
that is that. Moving on to item J, administration, human resources. My first pulled item is going to be from our second amended agenda.
Can I make a point, Troy? I think someplace in here, aren't you supposed to have your approval of the consent agenda before that?
It's down low.
Yeah, it seems like it should be.
Yeah, the approval of consent agenda.
Shouldn't it be on top of J?
It should be.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I think it should be up to Troy.
Are we willing to?
But since you pulled
We
it,
can do that.
Move the agenda for the third time.
Just do it.
Well, it's
It'll be
okay,
fine.
because we'll just back up. You're right.
just don't hit
Yeah,
any
you're
consent agendas until you get down to that, except for the one that you pulled,
Well,
which
maybe
is
we skip over the
J3.
consent reads and just go to
But
this.
you know, let's, I'm gonna skip all over and I'm gonna go to J3, which Sherry asked be pulled as a hold item. That's a classified management salary schedule, correct?
Right.
Sherry? That's the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So-
hold, okay.
So I think I got my question answered, but I was just confused on why we were changing a title. And I just wanted to, I think Jane and I kind of wanted to talk about it. I didn't understand why we were changing the title of the Business Technology Director to Director of Technology in general. And why that worried me at the time was because it seems like when that title was given, technology was one thing. Plugging in computers, checking software, checking computers, making sure people can take attendance. Now, it's smarter balance, it's Common Core, it's curricular based, it's education based, it's so much more. But what didn't come through us, because it didn't need to come through us, and so Jane can make sure I'm stating this correctly, is that that position has been moved over underneath educational services. And so the title needed to reflect that because it's no longer under the business section of the district.
Correct.
But so that was my question, and so then we got to talking a little bit about the structure of technology and it falling under educational services and the different jobs and duties and tasks that are falling underneath that, and how we make sure organizationally we really make sure it's structured with the right people and the right tasks and duties, since this is now, in other words, I don't want all this dumped on Mike Cole because this is so much bigger than just technology. It has to do with education and curriculum now, and smarter balance and like a whole vast thing. So I didn't want some poor person that hasn't even been a teacher to be tasked with all of that.
Okay.
But I think I have it correct.
So, and we are working, Steve and I have been talking, and since we've moved technology under educational services with that foresight, because we knew that technology was changing dramatically and becoming an integral part of every single classroom in every single school, and not only just in the offices and that kind of stuff anymore. It is an integral part of curriculum. It is it's a big part of the curriculum these days. So we've been working on kind of defining the jobs within the technology department, looking at some different kinds of strands. So kind of teasing out, network technology support and information data and assessment support and instructional technology support, kind of beginning to develop ideas around those three different strands of different kinds of support. We've just hired a new student data and assessment specialist who will be helping us with Smarter Balance, number one, and then also keeping up with ARIES and CalPads and all of the very important reports that are going into CalPads that are going to be driving the local control funding formula. So there's a lot of that going on right now. So we're really working at looking at the whole instead of just the little tiny pieces. It's always been this way. It's been in the business division, now it's in the educational services. So we're looking at the whole and the whole, how we best support the instruction as well as the staff and the business services and the secretaries in the school offices and all of that, how we best support all of that. So you can probably look forward to several reports over the course of the next couple of years, probably a year for sure, as we implement the new technology plan and how things are developing and evolving. You may see changes in titles and that kind of thing coming for different jobs and job classifications that we have as we morph into this 21st century situation that we're living in 13 years late. Yeah, so 13 years into it.
Would it make sense, I mean, I was thinking about with the energy guys that came in, we had right, Steve, we did an energy audit or an energy analysis, right, and then got a plan to save us money. Would it make sense to, and I thought we did this, I think it was right before I got on the board, but to do with the whole Wi-Fi integration and this technology plan, would it make sense to do, if you will, a technology audit to just see recommendations, and not with someone who's trying to sell us stuff, but just an independent come in and say, look, here's what you guys are doing really well, or here's what you guys are really stepping on it, or here's what you're duplicating?
So we had Figment do that report several years ago, and then we just passed the tech committee report, tech plan. And that tech plan has, you know, a package for each classroom that we're going to address in the item regarding the general obligation bond survey this evening.
So, and we've worked hard at implementing the FICMAT recommendations and making sure they were included in the new tech plan. We are carefully monitoring where we're at in terms of the kind of support. We're in the middle of implementing a new ticketing system, which is going to give us a lot more, it's like a help desk kind of a thing where if something goes wrong with your iPad or your computer, you send the ticket in and the ticket gets tracked. We send it to an employee, the employee tells what they happened, and the ticketing system is really going to help us begin to evaluate where we're at. Until we really need the ticketing system.
Yeah, and I think that was my issue too, that just seemed like that in and of itself, trying to get us our infrastructure to support, needs to be one bucket, and then the person that's actually teaching, well, Aries is a good example. Like Lori was here all day doing Aries training. Like we can't have one or two people trying to do that across the board. So, and obviously they're way ahead of me, so.
So you moved it, do you want to take action on that, or you want to include it now just in the consent agenda approval?
Well, we're here, let's just go ahead and approve it.
Yep.
So the recommended motion is the board approve the amended salary schedule, which changes the title of Director of Business Technology, and we're backdating this to July of 2013.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Thank you, Jane.
Now, J5, Resolution 1314-08, supporting adoption of the Sonoma County School Protection Zone. Recommended motion, Resolution 1314-08 of the Board of Education of Petaluma City Elementary and Petaluma Joint Union High School Districts supporting the adoption of the Sonoma County School Protection Zone.
So moved. Second.
Steve, you want to do it?
Yeah, this is the request that the board made at the last meeting. It was brought to us by a West County district who wanted support in working with the Department of Agriculture on vineyards and the like that are adjacent to school property to make sure that safe practices are occurring relative to the spraying of pesticides and the like. And this board at the last meeting was proposed to put it on the agenda for approval to support that.
Do we have any schools that are adjacent to farmland?
Yeah, we have Kenilworth Junior High that has the vineyard right behind the school, so it would be appropriate for.
What about Pengrove?
Pengrove has a pasture, but it's not an active yet.
Now, is this going to go the other way? Is this going to impact any of our current practices?
No, it's ag. It's really for the ag department to address ag activity near campuses.
Yeah, my understanding was This came to me, actually, weirdly, I think it got mailed to my house from a smaller district in West County.
West County, yes.
And they were looking for other districts to support their desire to ask the Sonoma County Board of Supervisors and the County Sonoma Agricultural Department, whatever
yes,
the
Ag
formal
Department.
name is for them, to work together to try to come up with some type of resolution to control when spraying would occur on properties next to schools, such that, you know, the vineyards next to their school weren't sprayed on a Tuesday morning in the middle of recess. And you
Only
get drift going all over.
Only on parcels that are contiguous? to the
Next
school?
to schools, yeah.
Oh, yeah, next to.
Yeah,
Be
there's no
farms
actual,
over. That's why I'm not real big on, you know, nebulous regulations and suggestions, because that gets abused.
well, and what it is, it's simply a request to have the County Board of Supervisors and the Department of Agriculture work together to come up with
a plan.
some language.
And this is from the West County, the same group that brought us nuclear-free zones and stuff?
Probably.
Because the Fed and the state wasn't all over that. No, thank God.
And the only reason it struck home with me is, you all know, every morning I drive out Lakeville, and I can't tell how many times I've been driving along thinking, wow, there's the bank of fog, where did that come from? And it's really the sprayer that's right next to the highway, and you're like, great, well, maybe I'll turn off the air conditioner for a minute as I cruise on through gosh knows what, so. It looked pretty innocuous to me, and it sort of fit, I know what I've spoken of before, and I think other members of the board have spoken of before, is that the proper jurisdictions are handling, you know, the right regulations. And so it certainly isn't us, but it's asking somebody else to take a look at it, so that's why I asked to put it on the agenda. So.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you as far as jurisdiction, but having a say-so in, we would want to have some voice in if the landowners by Kenilworth were doing something during our school hours that could offend our children.
And I did, for the record, ask Emily over at Kenilworth, and she wasn't unaware of any problem or issue that they'd had with the adjoining land over there. So.
Okay.
And I didn't see.
Yeah. All right. So, motion and a second. Any other discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Well, I'm sure they'll appreciate that. All right.
Did you get a motion in a second on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Item 6. I think we've been waiting, general obligation bond survey. So, Steve, you want to go ahead and speak to this?
Yes, this evening we have Greg Isom from Isom & Associates, who works with a number of school districts. He'll share with you a proposal to survey our community regarding their willingness to support the district on a bond issue, general obligation bond issue. And, you know, Greg comes highly recommended with a lot of success in this arena, working with school districts and junior colleges to get bond issues approved. And he's going to quickly walk us through the process. And I have shared with the board a draft of some potential bond projects as well that this could support. And a lot of the projects are tech in nature and upgrading our facilities to meet the upcoming Smarter Balance assessment that the state's going to have. We're going to do a test of the test this spring and actually implement the Smarter Balance next year. Great.
Thank you. I'm Greg Isom with Isom Advisors. We're financial advisors for school districts in the state of California, and our job is to get districts money or save districts money. Generally, I'd say the majority of our work are the school bonds, but we also do parcel taxes for school districts. If you just look on page 3, this is some of our area experience at the bottom there. Since 2010, we've done school bond programs and surveys for Bennett Valley, Bleenston, Cloverdale, Tidewater Park, Forestville, Gravenstein. I mean, you can read them. Guerneville, Harmony, Healdsburg, Lagunitas. We just did a bond for them last month in Marin County. Old Adobe, Roseland, Sebastopol, West Sonoma County, Wilmore, and Wright. Okay. We have a 100% success rate in Sonoma County. say that we tend to pick a bunch of winners. On page 4, this just shows you our 2010 bond successes. I think this page is relevant just in the fact that the district is considering doing an election in 2014. It's just a gubernatorial election. So I think there is some relevance to seeing how some of the other Sonoma County school districts fared in 2010, which was the gubernatorial election. And that's when we did the Benton Valley, Cloverdale, Forestville, and West Sonoma County High. I'm a baseball fan. Giants if they're winning, mostly Oakland A's. On page 5, I always say you're only as good as your last game, and so that just shows you the breakdown of how we fared in 2012, the school district statewide. 2 of the districts that I like to take pride in, one of them just is Sebastopol, where we actually did a geo bond for them in June, and we did a parcel tax for them in November. And then in November, we actually, up in Arcata, up in Humboldt County, we actually did a bond and a parcel tax on the same ballot. So what our job is for school districts is to find something that the community is willing to support and to get it, find the most cost-efficient way to get there. Okay. On page 6, services we provide. We always say that we assist the school district from A to Z, from the voter survey all the way to money in the bank. And so every district is different on what their needs are and what's required, but we do the financial planning, voter survey. For some districts, we do the election services, and then the financial advisory component. Any questions about me? I was probably got about 15 minutes to get through this thing. So, any questions about me before I start talking about your district?
You worked for us before?
Never.
Who did the last parcel?
Last parcel tax was Trematola did the campaign and Gabi did the survey.
Where are you based at?
Walnut Creek. Okay.
Any other questions?
All right.
Do you have other current projects for 2014?
In Sonoma County or just statewide?
Sonoma County.
Working with Cinnabar, Catawba Runner Park. I have a board meeting tomorrow at Oak Grove, and I have a board meeting on Thursday in Monterey.
Lots.
Yes. We just got hired at 2 other districts statewide tonight, one down in Ventura County in Ojai and another in San Mateo. So we're quite active. On page 8, since you guys have an elementary district and a high school district, I've kind of chopped the numbers, and we'll kind of just go elementary first. Was anyone around for the last bond back in the 90s? Or do you guys understand how bonds work and are set up?
Go for the people at home.
Okay.
You're on camera.
Okay. So pretty much how bond programs work, it's based on assessed valuation, tax rate, bonding capacity, and percentage of change. Okay. So I have all that information right here for you. In this box in the top right, it just shows a historical snapshot of what the district has done for the elementary. In 1991, they passed a $30 million bond, 70%. You've sold all the district's bonds. And right now, the current tax rate for the Petaluma Elementary District is $50.50 per 100,000 of assessed valuation. Okay? If you take a look at how the assessed valuation has done for the school district, you had 4 years of negative growth, but last year, 3.82% growth, which is fantastic. As I said, how this compares to the rest of the state and some of the school districts, this looks actually really good. You know, if you're in like Modesto or Stockton or Antioch, these places are dropping 20, 30, 40%. Okay? So this is great.
Assessed value of parcels within our...
Assessed valuation of all the property within your district.
Within the elementary district.
The elementary is...
just elementary.
This is just elementary.
Okay.
Okay? So about 4.4 billion or so.
Yes, yeah, he has the high school district later in the report.
Okay.
It'll be a lot bigger, huh?
It'll be a lot bigger, correct. You're going to hear a term sometimes which is called bonding capacity. I don't know if you've ever heard that. Bonding capacity is a number that the state gives you, which says that as an elementary school district, you're allowed to put yourself into debt, quote unquote, up to 1.25% of that 4.4 billion. Okay? So your gross bonding capacity, where the state says you can put yourself into debt, is 54.7 million. Okay? You already have some bonds today. You already have some bonds on the books to the tune of 13.3 million. So the state says you take your gross number of 54.7, subtract the outstanding principal, 41.4 million is the state says you can legally put yourself into debt. Obviously, there's some school districts like West Contra Costa Unified, where they've done probably 10 school bonds in the last 12 years. And so they've exceeded this bonding capacity. If you ever want to exceed this bonding capacity number, you have to get a waiver from the state. Okay? But I don't think you're anywhere near that number. So when people say, well, what's your debt limit? 41.4 million. Page 9, this shows you kind of what your budget would be. If you were saying, what's the maximum that our elementary district could probably ask voters for at the $30 tax rate? Okay? And you're going to say, why $30? The difference between when you did the bond in the 90s to today is something called Prop 39, if you ever heard of that. Not the energy one that just passed, but the one in 2000, where voters said that you no longer have to get a 2/3 vote. It can go down to 55%. But with taking it down to 55%, there's a couple taxpayer safeguards. One of the taxpayer safeguards is no more than $30 per 100,000 of assessed valuation. Okay?
Per election.
Per election, correct. You know, there's some districts, if you wanted to ask for more than $30, you'd have to do a 2/3 election. Okay? Some of the other taxpayer safeguards limit to get down to $30 is you actually have to have a detailed project list. You know, there's no more of these, LA Unifieds for $4 billion who would just say, let's fix our schools. You actually have to have a legit project list mapping out exactly what you're going to do and spend the money on. Okay?
Can you mix and match? I mean, can you decide that one costs more than you thought it was going to cost, so I'm not going to do item A, I am going to do, but it's more than I thought, so I'm not going to go item C, or?
Yeah, so generally when school districts get prepared to do an election, they have a laundry list of projects, just like every school district in California. You generally have, generally is the key word, more needs than how much you can generate. Okay? So the list you just list everything that you need to do, and then ultimately the board, once the bond is successful, you can pick and choose what projects you want to do.
You just can't do something off of the list.
Correct, yeah, you can't say we're going to modernize all of our schools and then go build a new one. Okay? And there's some other taxpayer safeguards like an independent citizens oversight committee to make sure that people, you're spending the money how you said. And there's 2 audits, a financial audit and a performance audit. Okay, so those are the taxpayer safeguards, which gets us to this $30 limit, which gets us to $31.3 million, is what I realistically think that the district can ask its voters for and get it within a reasonable timeline. Okay, I have different tax rates there to show you what those amounts would generate. Reason being is, a lot of this depends on what the voter survey says. If the community says, I don't want to support $30, but I'm willing to support $25, that's how much you can generate. Okay, questions on this page?
Series A, B, and C.
Series A, B, and C. So generally when school bonds are set up, you sell them in different series, okay? The IRS says that you have to spend all your money within 3 years, okay? So most districts, they find it difficult to spend $10 million within 3 years, so you sell them in different ways. If you think you can spend it all in within 3 years, and you just wanted to do one bond sale, you could probably generate close to $26 million at the $30 tax rate, okay? So the more bond sales you have, the more stretched out it becomes, the more your tax base grows, and you can generate more funds.
Steve, is that how you did it before?
We issued them in a number of issues, several issues over many years. With the previous $30 million authorization in the elementary district and $45 million authorization in the secondary district.
So
You can get approval. You can get approval for an amount from the taxpayers that you can't issue.
Correct.
Because your assessed valuation isn't high enough. So you have to wait for the assessed valuation to grow before you can issue some of the debt.
Yeah, there's some school districts to where you'd ask for $100 million. You can ask the voters for any amount that you want, but it's a matter of can you access it based on your tax rate and your assessed valuation within the district. So if you wanted to ask for $40 million, you could, but just realize that you're not going to get all $40 million till probably 2025. Okay. On page 10, this is what some districts have done in the county and just statewide. It's called a tax rate extension. The tax rate extension, it's a political sell to the community. It is technically a new bond, but this way it's so that the actual tax rate today, voters aren't paying more than what it is right now. Okay? So as I said, right now, voters are paying $50.50. And what we could do on page 10 is say, voters, we're not going to add $30 on top of this $50. We're just going to cap it at this $50 rate. And then when your tax rate in the next couple of years continues to decline, the tax rate will just fill it in. Okay? So this is a political promise to voters. You don't generate as much money, and it takes a little bit longer to get. But generally, we always say this is Plan B for school districts who can't pass a bond with a new tax rate because maybe sometimes the community is a little too conservative. Okay? So this is just an option of a tax rate extension, which generates about $23 million.
And it works in the elementary district, you'll see it doesn't work in the high school district because we issued the bonds later in the high school district.
Yeah, I mean, technically you could do one for the high school district, but it's gonna involve something which is called CABs. You probably read about them in the newspaper statewide, capital appreciation bonds, and nobody wants to do them. They're not the end of the world, but as I said, you never want to set out saying we're planning on doing CABs for a school district bond measure, okay? So now, let's talk about the high school district. High school district on page 12, the tax base is a lot larger, $9.96 billion. You had a nice bump of assessed valuation of 4%. Current tax rate for the high school district is only $36, okay? So you'll see the numbers there again, the bonding capacity, 124.5 million, 27 million on the books. So right now your current debt limit is 97.6 million, okay? Next page on 13 shows you what I would call your quote-unquote budget. How much could you generate? $70 million at the $30 tax rate. Okay. You'll see on page 14, while you could do a tax rate extension for the high school district, what I don't show on all these charts is the actual interest costs on how much it would cost the taxpayers. And this is where it would probably be, 4 to 5 to 1 ratio. So for the 43 million, it would probably cost, 120 million all in, maybe 150 million.
Right.
So
By doing cabs.
By doing cabs.
So you're paying interest only for a period of time before you start paying
Correct.
any of your principal down.
I'm not saying you're doing this, I'm just saying this is what the numbers are.
If you're just doing tax rate extension, so you're not increasing the taxes on, with this issue.
Okay. Page 15, there's been a lot of talk about technology and can bonds be used for technology? Well, that was one component of Prop 39 in 2000, which said, yes, bonds can be used for technology, modernization, renovation, new construction. Okay? So a lot of districts are implementing something called tech bonds. And technically a tech bond is a general obligation bond, just like we talked about before, but it's just kind of carving out a piece to be used just for technology. Okay? And I'll get onto the next page, but what some of the bonds can purchase, you can see devices of laptops, readers, iPads, smart boards, computer software, e-textbooks, and internal accounting, state testing, infrastructure, implementation. You can actually use bond money to pay for the training of implementing the technology for the school districts.
Is that more limited than the traditional capital improvement bond?
I'm sorry?
Is that more limited than the traditional capital improvement bond?
Well, yeah, there's two different ways. When you talk about bonds, there's the current interest bond, which is the plain vanilla, the investor gets paid interest, every year. Okay? There's a capital appreciation bond, which are the bad bonds you hear about, which is delayed interest or compounding interest. The technology bond, if you actually go to the next page, I'll show you how it kind of works on 16. So how a normal bond is anywhere from 25 to 30 years. Legally, you can take them up to 40 years as long as it is a current interest bond. Okay? Capital appreciation bonds can still be used as long as they're just 25 years. Okay? So what tech bonds are, and part of the structure that we came up with, as opposed to doing a 25-year bond and having the technology component be the first couple years of that bond, let's say years 1 through 5, and then of this 30-year bond, years 5 through 20 are your renovation projects, and then years 20 through 30 are your new construction projects. That's how it used to be set up. Okay? What a technology bond can do is you can sell your normal bond, but the technology bond, it kind of fits the useful life of the asset. Okay? So what we would probably do, and this is what we're doing for Kentucky Runner Park, is setting up this way. So you're going to have your normal 25-year bond just for facilities, and then this technology bond component is just going to be about 3 years or 4 years. That's the length of the bond. And the reason why that's attractive, number one, taxpayers associations would appreciate knowing that you're only spending money for like 3 to 4 years. It's not a 30-year bond for something that's, for some computers. but it's the fact that it's the interest component. So if you take a look on page 16, how much could the elementary district do for a technology bond? Let's just call it $10 million. $2 million for every 3 years, matching useful life. But of this $10 million, total interest costs are only $400,000. As I said, so the normal bond program is a 2-to-1 ratio, or however you want to call it. So for 10 million of principal, 10 million of interest. If you were just to do this technology bond, selling a bond every 3 years with little 3-year terms, $10 million of principal with 400,000 of interest. That's how we'd probably set it up. Okay. Not exciting, but okay. 17, this is the high school district, how much you could generate, $15 million for technology. And you'll see right there at the top, this is for a $10 tax rate. Okay? This would generate $3 million every 3 years. So what a lot of districts are doing right now is they are saying, how can I fund all my technology needs for the next 15, 20 years? This is a way to accomplish that. Okay? So $15 million, approximate interest cost of $600,000. Okay, so it's almost just pure, it's almost like a parcel tax. It's just straight money going towards your technology needs for the next 15 years. Okay? General fund relief. For districts that cannot pass parcel taxes, unlike yours, but for some districts that need extra help, what are ways that bonds can help pay for ways to help out the health of the general fund? Okay? I heard in the meeting deferred maintenance. So your bond would pay for your deferred maintenance issues. Okay? If you needed new buses, portable classroom leases, fixtures, furniture, and equipment, paying off some of your old COP debt. I believe you have about $6 to $7 million of old loans.
That's on the Kenilworth site, and remember, Mary and Claire will remember that we're going to use surplus from the sale of Casa Grande surplus property to pay that off, and then we never sold it. We still have that surplus property as well.
Well, we sold it, but it never
finalized. Yeah, we never finalized the sale.
Right.
We hadn't sold it.
So this is what we did in Roseland. Roseland had a lot of COP debt, a bunch of loans, and their bond was used to pay off their loan. Energy cost of green improvements, we talked about like HVAC, solar projects. I don't know if you did a PPA or did a lease or something, but your bond can pay that off. All your technology projects, then applicable salaries. Okay. Voter demographics, I don't think I need to spend too much time on this. You know exactly who your voters are. Okay. I think it's just interesting. I just have the high school district here because it's all encompassing. About 39,000 total voters, 51% Democrats. 66% of them vote by mail. It's a very high percentage. Your district has a more mature voting population of 46% of voters aged 55 and older. So it just presents a different education for this type of voter, right? But as I said, how does this fare to Sonoma County? This is just like almost all the other demographics in Sonoma County, especially like West Sonoma County High School District, very similar. Okay, so on paper, I would say that you're a winner on paper, just based on the demographics, but you never truly know until you do some type of voter survey to determine what your community is going to support. Okay, voter turnout, I think this page is very interesting. It shows the voter turnout for the last 5 major elections, all the way back to November 8, June 10, November 10, June 12, November 12. And what I find interesting is that in your June elections, it's pretty much the same exact voters voting on every election. It doesn't matter what's the issue is, it's the same people voting. Okay?
So is that better when there's a lower voter turnout?
I'm sorry?
Is it better to have a lower voter turnout for these kind of things?
You know what? That used to be the strategy. The strategy used to be extremely low turnout, stealth campaign. You do an election on Valentine's Day night where like 10 people show up, right? That was the strategy. But as I said, with Prop 39 and with vote by mail, there's no more stealth elections anymore. There's no more secret, turnouts. So when it comes down to what's the best date for school districts to go, our advice has always been when your voters are ready to support you.
Yep. What I'm looking to consider is really a June election, because if you know what's happening with the city right now, they're surveying the community for a November election, and I don't think we want to be on the same ballot as the city. So if the board is interested and the taxpayers show that it's feasible for us to move forward, I would recommend being on the June ballot, not the November ballot.
Is there anything on the June ballot that Do you agree or disagree with Steve based on what he just said?
You know, I agree with what the superintendent said in that if the taxpayers are willing to support you, our recommendation has always been you go when your voters say they're ready to go.
But competing measures or similar
You know,
measures or?
It depends. Every community is different. You know, and I can give you examples on how it was irrelevant. You know, when we did West Sonoma County High School District's bond in 2010, we had the Forestville bond, we had the Forestville parcel tax, there was the Twin Hills bond, which is a feeder district going into it. You know, and all of them were successful. You know, but I've also seen districts to where there were a lot of other competing measures, and it got ugly. Meaning getting ugly, meaning everything was in the newspaper, it turned into a big anti-tax measure, you know. So I've seen it all. I think that's something that maybe we would even consider putting in the survey, as if you knew that the city had its own tax measure, would you be supportive of this?
Right. Just to give a little history, so in November of 91, the district approved the elementary bond. In April of 92, they approved the secondary bond. When we went for the parcel tax, we did it in 2 separate elections as well, and got both approval. But when we went for the renewal, we did it all in one election, and we got 75% approval on putting both the elementary and secondary in one election. So I feel confident that the community will support considering both the elementary and secondary simultaneously.
Now these, GO bond like this, though, there's no carve out for senior citizens or anything like that. It's just straight for everybody.
Yeah, parcel taxes, you have the ability to exempt out. I mean, generally, if you want to call it the exemption, since it's based on assessed valuation, you know, a lot of people who've been living in their homes, seniors for 50 years, you know, their home's assessed at, you know, $40,000. So that's kind of their break.
Prop 13.
Correct. You know, my parents vote for every tax measure that comes their way about their home in the 70s, so. Sorry about that segment.
That's it.
Questions on the turnout? Okay. Next steps, if the district are interested, what does it take to be ready, right? Number one, you have to have a list. I believe, work with the superintendent, there is a preliminary list of needs for the district. There needs to be a board meeting where you say, let's explore whether or not something like this works. And I always like to use the word explore, because you're never, let's say, doing a bond until you actually adopt a resolution and turn it into the county. After that point, you're serving the community, you're listening to the community, and giving them a voice before you actually let them vote on it, right? The reason we tend to be very successful with these measures is, if I don't think we're going to be successful, our recommendation is don't move forward, right? And the only way you can find that out is doing the voter survey and talking to some people in a time whose opinion matters, right? So conduct survey, initiate the public information program, have survey results back in January. Based on what the survey says, you know, as I said, if the survey comes back and your community says, I don't want to do $30, but I want to do $19, well, then the $19 is going to generate this much money, and then you can make the determination on, well, if it's only going to generate this much money, maybe we need to cut some projects out. Or, you know, through the survey, when we ask a bunch of the projects, maybe they don't want to support some of the projects. If they don't want to support those, our recommendation is, especially if it's a very big project, cut it off the list. We've seen too many districts to where they said, no, you don't know my community, they want to support this, you know, football stadium more than anything. It's Friday Night Lights out here. And that community, they were wrong. The community did want to support it. In other communities, that's all they want to support, right? So the survey kind of gives us a gauge on what your community is willing to support.
So do you run the risk of, the city just did a survey a week ago, didn't they?
Yeah, we haven't heard the results yet.
No, but I mean, I wonder, do we run the risk, is there a buffer time that you want to wait before you do another one so they don't get confused? You know what I'm saying? That somebody thinks that they were still talking about the city one because that's the one that's been in the news.
You know, with 31,000 voters, generally the typical survey, you're only surveying about 400 people. That matches the demographics of those that are showing up on election day, right? So you might have some people that would have received the survey.
Or just know about it, I guess is what I'm talking about. Like there's a confusion between, is this
haven't
the
seen-
school or is this the city?
Well, in the survey, we always announce that it's for the school, and then we always, it's everything, all the questions are about
So
schools.
maybe you drafted in a manner to make sure that that didn't happen. Like you'd say it's a school a couple times throughout the draft.
Yeah, it says it right here on the draft survey. We say we're conducting on behalf of the Petaluma City Elementary School District. we're talking about the district.
So that's attached here as far as a draft of the
Yeah,
survey.
it would be pretty straightforward, somebody taking the survey that it's all about schools. But no, it is something to consider, you know, I mean, and we had to do that when we did for West Sonoma County High School District, and we were doing the parcel tax for Sebastopol and the bond for Gravenstein all at the same time.
It is important also to time it right, because I happened to get the survey center phone call on my caller ID, and it was like several nights right before Thanksgiving, and I was too busy to answer the phone. I'm like, who's surveying me now? And I never did, so, because I was busy cooking. So just timing is important.
I totally agree.
We're looking
I like doing
for
surveys.
survey early in January and come back with the results at the second meeting in January 28th.
Do you personalize this question list to what we at Petaluma City Schools would be asking for? I mean, you don't say, do you support technology, or would you support making updates to?
Well, the list that I came up with was the one that was provided to me by the superintendent on some of the possible projects.
On page
Okay.
3 there.
Yeah, page 3, so you typically, if we're looking at the elementary, those are pretty just straightforward questions. There's nothing too exotic that you're asking the voters to support, which is good. I'd say the majority of voters today would rather support just modernization and renovation projects. Okay. You know, on the high school, I just wanted to show you what some of these questions mean on the high school survey on the projects versus rotate 11 through 25. You'll see something that says SSA and SSB. But SSA it's split sample, okay? So half the voters would get SSA and the other half would get SSB. It's the same exact project, just asked a different way, okay? And so you'll see, I mean, one of the questions is upgrade PE fields and facilities for school and community use versus upgrade athletic fields and facilities. Same question, but every community views those two differently for some reason, okay? You know, pool question, and then also the COP question. We phrase it as paying off the district loan to construct and modernize school facilities versus purchase school facilities the district is currently leasing. Okay. We ask a bunch of tax rate questions, once again, to figure out, is your community willing to support this type of thing? Yeah. Any questions on the survey?
Do you have the project list?
The draft, yeah,
I only saw
provided,
it once. What-
yeah, provided, I have it with me, yes.
Jesse?
I have a question, this is probably a really
Go ahead, ask it.
silly question. How do you know if I'm in the elementary school? Like, how do I know, is it based on where I live, or based on the?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we order the voter file for the school district, it gives us all the information. So there will be a separate one for the elementary, separate one from the high school, and what we do is we have the ability to make sure that people that aren't being called twice, we can make sure that, you know, if we want it for the high school district, maybe we're only going to survey people in Old Adobe, Wilmar, Cinnabar, WA school districts, or the rest of West County, and we avoid people who's getting called in the elementary. Maybe we throw in some elementary into the high school district, but it's all completely, we have all those files available if we want to.
So I still don't understand, how do you determine what
They
is
don't.
it?
Oh, the county has boundaries for the elementary school districts. So
You're in both.
you're.
So what, can I be in both?
You're,
Yeah,
yeah,
both.
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it just depends where you live?
Right.
Correct.
So if you lived in Old Adobe School District,
Uh-huh.
you'd be only in the high school district.
And you'd
If
only
you live
get
on the west side of Petaluma, you're in both.
I got it. So you just take a chance and call someone maybe on the west side, and you could ask them either one of those?
You know, yeah, we can split that as well. Part of my thinking was for the high school district survey.
duplication.
Yeah, would maybe to only survey 100 people who live in the elementary, Petaluma Elementary, then the other 300 make up, you know, maybe a third on the east side and then, you know, the other third on the west side. I mean, we have the ability to truly ask whoever we want to.
And you don't necessarily call people that have students at either elementary or?
No.
Absolutely.
You're calling everyone you want to know.
Based on the demographic, and when you're looking at it, about only 20% have students in our district. So you're really asking for support of people who have little or no connections to the school.
Correct.
What's the survey cost?
In the agenda item, it's not to exceed $10,000.
That made it $5,000.
It's not gonna see.
How do you pay the
How do you bill us?
We bill you at cost.
They bill us at cost.
So whatever I have to pay to actually have the people make the calls, that's the bill that you'll get.
Okay, but then you, if it's a go on a bond, then you walk it all the way through issuance?
I'd like to.
Financial advisors is what they are, so yes.
Well, no, but I just wonder what his scope of his services are.
Correct.
Do we sign an agreement that says if we agree
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
the survey, we're also agreeing to the services? Is that generally how that works or not? I don't know.
It varies.
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, you're not putting me on the spot whatsoever.
You'll do any component or the whole thing, is what you're
I'm
saying?
sorry?
You'll do any component or the whole thing, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, we generally do the whole thing, you know, for most of the school districts.
And what's usually the cost of?
It's a flat cost, and all the school districts in Sonoma County have the same exact cost. It's $25,000 for the financial planning, and it's $65,000 per sale. And so all this comes out of the bond proceeds, so the district doesn't pay for anything.
Okay, it's not a percentage, it's.
Flat fee. As a financial advisor, we can't work under a percentage, because that's a conflict of interest.
Okay.
That makes sense. What, Steve, what percent round numbers are we talking facilities versus other stuff?
If you look at the bottom of the page, I've got the breakdown at the bottom of each, not page, but at the elementary district, it shows tech, it shows the type of plan. You got it in your hands.
Okay.
So if you're looking at modernization's 12.2 of 16 million, so that's the biggest component. The one-to-one devices is $1.4 million. Classroom tech package.
So
for elementary
modernization
only-
is all facilities, right?
Correct.
I guess it would be easier to say what's not facilities. One-on-one devices, bandwidth, classroom tech stuff.
21st century classroom furniture.
So the majority of this are facilities. The vast majority.
The vast majority of it is for facilities and keeping our facilities updated and functioning. The other part, the advantage obviously is when you're doing that, is you're increasing the efficiencies of your facilities too, when you go with more modern and efficient HVAC and the like, and replace potential gas leaks and plumbing leaks and everything else as part of modernization of facilities.
Is this this won't let the state off the hook for anything, right?
Well, right now, there's no state bonds.
No, not the bonds, it's not letting them off the hook if we take a bigger burden on the maintenance and put it on the Petaluma.
The state doesn't pay for any maintenance of our facilities.
There's nothing worse than they're gonna give us any money for
They
it.
just eliminated what they were paying by throwing the deferred maintenance funds into the local control funding formula.
So I think that's the question, tell me if I'm wrong, is if we were to pass these bonds, would we get a penny less from the state because we?
Matter of fact,
Exactly right.
matter of fact, if there is a state bonds, we would need these resources to be able to match state funds because it's either a 60-40 or a 50-50 split to get modernization. And without the bond funds, we would have never been able to do the modernization of our campuses.
So in local control funding, then, are there still matching funds for?
Right now, there's no state bond. Cash is proposing a state bond. The governor has ideas for other bonding. If you read the paper just today, talking about the water, the Delta issue. Yes. And it had a huge price tag. What was it? 30?
It's huge.
35?
That's Jerry Brown's big ticket item right now.
Like $35 billion or something like that. It was a significant proposal.
Well, Steve, everybody knows the game here, at least I think most people know the game. So if you take a big capital improvement bond, or whatever you use it for,
Right.
then that frees up your general fund, right? To do other things.
Well,
to pay the soft costs. And everybody knows that happens. So in your experiences, after these bonds, if you approve, do we then get hit with all of the, we'll call them the soft cost people, coming in and wanting more salaries, more, hiring more people, doing all these things? Because theoretically, the bond money frees us up from now doing our capital improvements and basically kind of, I don't want to say, minimize the necessity of having that deferred maintenance fund. In your experience, is that one of the
it does
vacuums
provide more
that gets
resources for
created?
educational programs. A significant part of educational programs are the soft costs you're talking about, the people. But it does help continue to be a healthy district relative to the educational resources as well. If your facilities are in need of repair and you're not able to continue with the maintenance, we talked about that before. If you're deferring the maintenance, and this district had a very, very bad practice of deferring the maintenance prior to the last bonds. These facilities were in terrible condition in 1990. With the bond funds, they're now in good condition. Matter of fact, we're halfway through the deferred maintenance walks, and the campuses are pretty good. We're going to need to come back and start looking at gas lines, plumbing, and HVAC and modernization, and lighting retrofits as well, and modernization to keep our facilities healthy. What we're really talking about is 21st century classrooms. You know, getting our facilities up to the standards that they should be, and in many states they would be, with resources available. The state of California does not provide those resources or the capability for school districts to do it without local taxpayer support.
Are there any mandatory retrofits or anything we're under the gun to do?
Prop
earthquaking or
39,
anything?
we're after Prop 39 funds, which will provide us with resources to do energy efficiency projects. And we're looking at energy management systems in the secondary district and replacing our old energy management systems, expanding them to, again, even further enhance our energy efficiency that Jamie was talking about earlier. In the elementary districts, we've been needing to replace the windows forever and just improve the envelope to save energy on our campuses. And you know, we haven't been able to do that. We didn't accomplish it with the modernization. We ran out of modernization, including matching funds, in the last $30 million bond issue that we spent from '92 to just 2 years ago.
So what he's saying is, we don't generally use general revenue
To maintain facilities. We don't have enough, I mean.
No, it's obvious.
Well, with our scarce resources, we have, you know, less than adequate funds to do the education that we would like to, and provide the resources for classrooms. Again, in California, you have fewer adults on campuses than any other place. You know, we'd have twice as many adults in Massachusetts at Petaluma High School than we have currently. And that's the difference in class size. And
student teacher.
Librarians, counselors, all the other support that's lacking on campuses in California.
How do you feel about these numbers? And what are they?
I've had the numbers reviewed by Counterpoint and the like. I really took modernization costs that we spent over the last 20 years to determine what the modernization would be for the next 10 to 12 years.
And so you say that is the practice on this, the logistics of this is you sort of overlist and then come back and pick what you
you overlist and ask the taxpayers what they would support, and then you come back and revise the list to support, to develop a plan that will be supported by the community.
Can we come up with a different name besides 21st century furniture?
Yeah, we can. I mean, the issue is having classrooms that don't look like they're from the 1960s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what's your pet project here?
My pet project there?
What's your pet project?
Well, the fields. We heard from 2 Casa Grande students on the Casa Grande track where they've raised $65,000 in the last 5 years towards $1 million project.
I was just going to say it's a little bit.
We have lacrosse here today, and they're talking about, you know, for Petaluma High School, continuing to play the games at Lucchese Park. If you had an artificial turf field, they can use that. You could have track practices after school. You could have lacrosse practices in the evening under the lights. A lot of opportunities. That's the real question, and Greg was addressing that. Will the community support us improving our two football fields and tracks? But that would be a project that would be high on my list. But the tech package and bringing our classrooms up so that we can take smarter balanced tests. I've shared before the desire, smarter balanced
test that is the state mandate that's gonna be required. You know, we're gonna test the test this spring, we're going to take it for real the following spring. With the ability to take our facilities, and when we start having dollars for textbooks, not buying hard textbooks, but buying ebooks, and having every student with a personal device that you keep with you from your freshman year till you graduate as a senior.
Well, that kind of goes up, that led to my point earlier that I asked about having a good solid tech plan, because I'll be honest, I can see technology being a never-ending sinkhole. I mean, it's always the newest, the newest improved, latest, greatest. I mean, I personally don't know the difference between an iPhone 4 and iPhone 5. I'm sure to some people it's everything, and to some people it's like, I don't need any more bells or whistles. So I think that's important to know, like, what do we need to deliver the services? You know, I've always used the adage with my business clients, you know, don't go out and buy it's probably antiquated now, a Cadillac with all the trimmings when you can get by with a Volkswagen. And I think a lot of big organizations suffer from that, especially when there's plenty of money that they think is free money, because somebody else is paying the freight. You start just buying stuff to buy stuff as opposed to having a real solid plan and spending the money efficiently.
Right.
And that's where I'm kind of a little leery of just jumping on the tech wagon and just outfitting everybody with everything, as opposed to saying, look, we got the basics, here's what's going. And as long as you guys are comfortable that we have a good solid plan with, you know, cost controls and efficacies that actually are delivering the service to the kids, as opposed to just, you know, lights and glitter and bells and whistles.
Yep.
Because it makes you, gives you bragging rights in your classroom. I'm not about that at all.
And neither am I. I mean, we're looking at the fact that ebooks are less expensive. You have a lot of open source items too, so you don't have to pay for, that are available online. And lessons, we know there's a lot of lessons that are out there online that are being generated by districts throughout the nation and that are available for nothing. So it's an opportunity to improve the educational programs and bring us into more efficient use of technologies. Sherry was talking earlier about technology is changing as to how it's used in the classroom. The other thing is you have a plan as to what we want in every classroom. Well, we don't have a plan to pay for that. And these are the resources that could accomplish outfitting our classrooms to the plan that the board has adopted.
But the other thing we have to look at, Steve, is because we got to look at our existing budget, not just.
I have a quick question.
Oh, yes, you do. Please.
We're on camera, but I'm really gonna need to use the restroom. Can I leave and come back while you guys are continuing, or do we have to take a break?
I think I need a motion for that.
I don't know, can we keep talking?
Yes.
Okay. Because what I don't want to see is get into a conundrum where you start adding things and doing things, and then we have to hire ever more, people to do those things, when we should be really looking for efficiencies. And I know we need people, and we have a lot of good people and trained people, but I'm a little leery sometimes of government where they'll hire 5 people to do the job in private enterprise than 1 or 2 people to do. I'd personally rather pay a few people more, and have that smaller group that's more dedicated, more focused, more effective. And I think sometimes we talk about, again, technology and doing these bigger projects, you start getting yourself into a budget conundrum that now we got to support all that, and the bond money will go away. Eventually it will not be there anymore. So the idea is you want to be left with, teetering on the brink, and you see it now with some cities and counties, and certainly we know in California some school districts right over the cliff, and they have plenty of bond money. It's because they built up a structure they couldn't support.
I'm going to try to wrap my arms around this. Do we have any more questions directly for our financial advisor?
So I just want to, so the bond, say, successful passes in June of 2014, then when can you start spending the money?
Generally, it takes about 2 to 3 months from when the district says, I want money, to money in the bank. For first issue. But that doesn't mean that you even have to, as soon as you pass, let's immediately get our money. You can wait a year or 2 to get all your plans up to
So
speed.
you could in theory start spending some of it in the fall of 2014.
Yeah, you could.
And Steve, you probably have shovel-ready stuff.
Yes, and for instance, with the fields, the plan for the fields would be to do those in summer of 2015. We approve the bond in summer of 2014. You construct the track and fields in 2015.
But there's some technology you think before that's about already.
Technology, we would be looking to go on a very fast track, try to have it ready. Yes, and you're talking about Wi-Fi and bandwidth and speed, because that's going to be the issue. Right now, if we fill this classroom with computers and ever try to get online, we're going to be really slow because we don't have the bandwidth.
Or be kicked out.
The county's just upgrading theirs, adding 10 gigs, right? So that's been what part of our slowdown was the county. That's now improving, and they're still working on the high-speed network for education.
So there's a whole lot of discussion we can have about
Yeah,
what and when and how
Right.
exactly. I think obviously
We need to ask the questions
The question is
the
anybody
voters.
interested in having us continue to have that discussion? Any other questions here? No? Public comment,
Anything?
bonds, facilities, would anybody like to get up to the podium and make public comment regarding that at this time? Not required, not trying to goad you into it.
No, I'll just give you a little, kind of personal thing. The district that I work in went through this, I work for the Tamalpais Union High School District.
Yes.
And we did a general obligation bond, $60 million, $63 million for five high school district, 3 large high schools. And that was in 2003, I think, maybe 4, maybe 2, somewhere in there. And went through a long, involved plan of really upgrading everything. And the approach there was to get the fields done first, because it created the greatest buy-in with the community. And it was visible. And those things got done, and people drove by and they saw the benefits of the program. And then when we needed to go out and get a second bond, because we ran out of money on the first one, it was good because people had seen the results, right? And the bandwidth thing is the other issue. We're still struggling on that.
And not there yet.
I'm being cynical. I think we're never going to.
No.
Yep.
Anybody else on a public comment on that?
Oh, Jenny.
Well, I would just say that I'm in favor of, to me, it's just corporate finance 101. You try to match your length of term of, 30-year life of a renovated building or project. You match that with 30-year debt. So I was actually really glad to hear that they've added this tech bond feature that's shorter. So I'd call it a note, but whatever. So you got a
Right.
3 to 5
They're
year.
notes, closer to notes than bonds,
3 to
yes.
5
It
year,
is about-
so that matches, and that makes a lot of sense, because when, as you probably know, you did Wilmar, right?
Correct.
Wilson School, that was one of the things that people didn't understand. They thought, oh my gosh, we're issuing 30-year debt for computers that are gonna be dead in 3 years, but I'm assuming that that was not the case, that they were
Correct.
the tech bonds. So,
It's all about marketing.
yeah, it's all about marketing, and it's all about that kind of thing. And I think the list of facilities also includes community use,
Big time.
which is great. And so hopefully, I would hope there'd be a lot of buy-in, because I think that the work is very necessary. It's very clear to me, but I'm around the
Well,
campuses.
we just had Major Q, was that it?
X.
X, I meant Major X, thank you.
Right.
Major X didn't pass, but that was the 2/3. If it had been at a 55%, it would have passed significantly. It had 65%.
I worked on that, and the interesting thing with that is that we got the exact vote,
That the
exact
survey,
percent that the original survey
survey said we would get, yes.
Yeah, weren't able to move the needle on that in any significant way.
Yep.
Any other comments here? I'm going to take a motion.
I move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor of the recommended motion, which I should have read first, that board approve conducting a community, it's not.
It's just a survey.
It's just a
conduct, I'm gonna add just,
Survey.
a
Just a
community
survey,
survey to determine if there's sufficient support for general obligation bond measure to be placed on the June 2014 general election ballot. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
It's too late to call tonight, but you can start tomorrow.
Thank you, Craig.
Okay. Now I gotta find my way back to where we were, just 1 second. I'm going as quickly as I can.
Now we're doing
I think we
consent.
do the
We're in all the
consent
consent
You can do
stuff,
the
so we
cons-
could
consent
knock
now.
that out, and then I think that would jump us right to the live oak.
Yeah.
Who was waiting.
All right, so, okay,
So-
agenda, approval of consent
Well,
agenda by
Those
consolidated
two,
motion.
but
So
they're quick. Second.
All those in favor of the
Aye.
consent?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll go to donations we already did, list of expenditures, ratification of list of expenditures, I'll take a motion to
I have
ratify
to.
those. You have to recuse yourself from that?
I make a motion?
This
Second.
is, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
401.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's one. L5, purchase orders, approval of the list of purchase orders in accordance with board policy 3314. I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
So, all those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
I mean, 5. All right. Live Oak Charter School renewal.
Wake up, wake up.
We're gonna have to push this to, no, I'm just kidding.
I think I was pulling on this.
Who wants to, Jane, is this you?
Oh,
sure.
Do we do our motion?
Oh, yeah, okay. For the recommended motion for the board to approve the renewal process for Live Oak Charter School to continue as charter school in Petaluma City School District.
So moved.
Mary?
Second.
Okay.
So this is, Live Oak is up for the renewal of their charter. Administration has reviewed the proposed charter agreement. There are no issues at this time. We see no reason not to approve the charter.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
I didn't see on, this is no offense to you guys, but I didn't see on here any attachments. Usually we have like a, but maybe I'm not, this is the first time on the online agenda.
Yeah, I know that there are, that we attached, that we have that available and it's been reviewed by admin. I don't know that we included the
I think
attachments.
in
for
honor
the-
shadow
of
coverage
Principal Morgan's birthday today.
Oh my God.
Terrible.
The pity vote,
I
Well,
just
this
want to
is your
say,
birthday present.
Phoebe and I coincidentally today took a site tour of Live Oak, and it is just an amazing place to be. They were so wonderful to us, and I think we probably could have talked all day, and we finally excused ourselves so we wouldn't take any more of their time. And I came back and bragged a little bit, and there's some teachers that would like to maybe come over and see what you're doing.
We would love to have more
I
exchange happen.
figured you'd say that, so I told them to call you if they ever had time. So.
I'd like a report.
Yeah, it was very engaging and interesting. The children were in an incredible learning environment, so it was very impressive. And yeah, it would be great if, so I guess that's my question. So when we listed up their charter schools, Live Oak Charter was.
They're independent charters. They're not part of the
Yeah.
Petaluma City Schools. They're chartered under the elementary district. Yes.
Is there a way, Steve, that we could, I don't know, mandate's too strong a word, but have periodic reports from them?
Invite.
Invitation?
Yeah,
There's actually language in there for reports to administration, but we could.
Yeah, there's nothing in the.
But I'm talking report to us as a board.
Yeah, I know, but there's nothing in the charter where that occurs. They do provide with us, we have fiscal and academic oversight requirements as the chartering district.
Could we get a report like we got from Mary Collins at Cherry Valley today?
Yeah.
Couple real cute kids come over and tell us what's going on.
Got lots of cute kids.
Yeah, we love
I'd like to see it. I think people would like to, you know, we're televised, I think it'd probably help you as well, but it'd help us to just have a feel
Yeah,
for
we
what's
can
going
do
on.
that.
Yeah, I wanted to say, even though it's an independent charter, I love the fact that in Petaluma, we have so many choices for kids. You know, from kindergarten all the way up. And so it's nice when, even though we don't, you know, have the same connections with our other charters, it is nice to know that there are alternatives that I have told other parents about, because they like to have choices for their kids. So.
Well, and we were talking about Common Core coming down, and Phoebe and I were noticing all kinds of things in their classrooms. Ooh, how do they do that? What are they doing over here? And how Common Core may now allow some other teachers to use more creative and inventive ideas than having to be on page 10 on Thursday, and it's exciting. And so I would also encourage anybody to go over. Now there'll be a line at your door, but take a look at what they're doing over there because they're doing phenomenal things.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, got a motion, and did you, give you opportunity for public comment if you'd like?
It was a pleasure to have you two today.
And just in regards to our program, we see ourselves as part of the ecosystem of schools in Petaluma. I think when I look at my colleagues across this city, not just in PCS, but in Old Adobe and Waugh and Wilson and Cinnabar, the other folks that are nearby, what I see happening in Petaluma, I came from the Petaluma Park District, that's where I was at for a long time, and I watched that district suffer under a lack of innovation. And what I see here in Petaluma across the board in the many districts that support the people here is an incredible amount of innovation. And I think the more that we can share with each other and provide those alternative opportunities for kids in different settings and different models for the families to migrate to, it's the best thing for all of us. And I know that we have families that share campuses, like they have a student that comes to Live Oak and they have another student that's at Cherry Valley, another student that's at Grant. And I think that idea that our children are not just cogs in the wheel, but that they're individuals that can migrate towards programs that really respond to their needs. So I just think it's a great part of education in this new era. So thank you.
And they're spending less on crayons, I believe.
Yes. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Sure.
Happy birthday. Enjoy your
Night.
evening. All right, item 7, certification of the first interim report.
So moved.
Second.
Being booked for speed here. Comment? Any comments? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Mitch, thank you very much. Very comprehensive and enlightening as always. Let's see. Item 8, resolution 1314-09 regarding the accounting of development fees for 2012-2013 fiscal year in the following fund or account: Capital Facilities Fund. The recommended motion is adoption of resolution 1314-09 regarding accounting and development fees for 2013 facilities fund.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you. You moved?
I moved.
Oh, okay.
Phoebe seconded, you seconded it?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 9 passes. Sue, I'm not going too fast for you.
Nope.
Any discussion on the monthly financial reports, item 10?
Wait, what about the other resolution? Did we do the closing?
Oh, excuse me.
Gotta do it tonight.
Wait.
It took me this far to, resolution 1314-10, closing a special reserve fund 17.
So moved.
It's consent.
Oh, thank you. I just didn't.
All right,
Sound-
consent, I'll
We
go
gotta
with
move, we gotta, have a second on this?
Second.
What is?
That was my question.
Well, that was my
It's so
question.
sinister, what is this?
That was my question. I'm like, in all the years I've been here, I've never accessed or we've never used this
Roswell
fund.
of your budget there?
And so I asked them to produce a document that showed that we actually opened it, and it came back that in 1983 it was requested.
83?
Yeah.
Good, it was before me, because I couldn't.
I was like, dang, I don't remember this.
Troy was
So
still in high school.
there's no activity, there's no funding, there's no
Okay.
money in
Okay.
it. There's,
All
yeah.
those in favor?
Leaning
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Never again shall we talk about special reserve fund 17
No,
in this room.
until next week, next month
gotta
when
figure
I
out
bring it
what it
back, because
was,
I
yeah.
find need for
Yeah,
it.
oops, that's what it was. Okay, I'm scrolling. Actions on items heard in closed session.
You're gonna read for a long time.
You know what I'm gonna do, because I hate to have you all sit here and listen to me have to read about 9
Not about.
disciplinary issues. There's 9 of them. So I'm gonna, everybody okay with me moving to future business real quick?
Yeah.
Motion to move to future business?
Okay. Some of
Second.
Yeah.
Everybody in favor of that? Item eight. Future business. Next, regular organizational board meeting is gonna be on the 14th here. Do I have any requests for agenda items?
So Jane, anything special? What are you bringing on the 14th? you know?
Of January?
Yeah. Next year, what are you bringing next year?
Not that far ahead.
Yeah.
Anything specific?
I'm waiting for them to finish right here.
No.
Can we add a discussion of lacrosse at that time?
Discussion on lacrosse? Everybody okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Board would like a discussion of lacrosse on the 14th. Jane, you will now have to wow us with something
I will wow you with
because you didn't deliver when you were asked.
The governor's budget.
That better be good. It better be good. Okay, and Steve, we don't have any, do we have 2 meetings in January or 1?
We have 2 meetings in January,
Okay,
yes.
good, so we won't double up on that.
Correct.
So if I don't wow
All
you
right.
with the first one, I'll wow you with the
So
second.
would he be
Are you
back?
already making
Mr.
it?
Eisen be back on the 14th?
28th, you'll be surveying around that time. We'll be back to report the results of the
No, there's gotta be a way. Okay, so I'm gonna move back to action of items heard in closed session. Remember, we all have to vote on these, so otherwise I can tell you all to leave. As I see the room start to clear out. Which I will do too. All
You
right.
two get your pins. Very few people stay to the end. You get your
Oh my
pins.
God.
Endurance.
Yeah.
That was a long one.
This is the
We love
longest
board
one we've
groupies.
had
I mean, they're
in
great.
a
Yeah.
long time.
Okay, let's go. Can you
Remember the
Blue
quad they
and
can't
Carol over here? They
What?
All right, so here we go. You guys ready?
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you very much.
Giants game in the fog. when it
Case
was
number 8,
below
a case
50
has been presented to the
degrees,
board
you
that
would
the
get
student
claw
did commit an
candles.
expellable act as defined by the California Education Code. The recommended motion for the board to expel and suspend the site discipline team's recommendation for expulsion in accordance with board policy and to allow continued enrollment in district school under mandated conditions. Students suspended expulsion status in effect for the fall and spring semester of 2013-2014 school year. Conditions above subject to review with evidence of positive attendance, satisfactory behavior, life skills, counseling program, community service, and appropriate academic performance.
So second.
All those in favor? Passes 5-0. And again, for those watching at home, these are student disciplinary cases that were presented to the board in closed session. So all the facts have been discussed, and this is the decision based upon those facts. Case number 12. Case has been presented to the board that the student did commit an expellable act as defined by the California Education Code. Recommended motions for the board to expel and to suspend the site discipline team's recommendation for expulsion in accordance with board policy and to allow continued enrollment in district-operated school under mandated conditions. Students suspended expulsion status will be in effect for the fall and spring semesters of the 2013-2014 school year. Conditions above subject to review with evidence of positive attendance, satisfactory behavior, substance abuse counseling program, and screenings, community service, and appropriate academic performance.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Case 14, a case has been presented to the board. The student did commit an expellable act as defined by the California Education Code. Recommended motion for the board to expel and to suspend the site discipline team's recommendation for expulsion in accordance with board policy and to allow continued enrollment in a district-operated school under mandated conditions. Students' suspended expulsion status will be in effect for the fall and spring semesters of the 2013-2014 school year. Conditions above subject to review with evidence of positive attendance, satisfactory behavior, substance abuse counseling program and screenings, community service, and appropriate academic performance.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Case 15, a case has been presented to the board that the student did commit an expellable act as defined by the California Education Code. Recommended motions for the board to expel and to suspend the site discipline team's recommendation for expulsion in accordance with board policy and to allow continued enrollment in a district-operated school under mandated conditions. The student's suspended expulsion status will be in effect for the fall and spring semesters of the 2013-2014 school year. Conditions above subject to review with evidence of positive attendance, satisfactory behavior, substance abuse counseling program and screenings, community service, and appropriate academic performance.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Case 16, a case has been presented to the board that the student did commit an expellable act as defined by the California Education Code. The recommended motions for the board to expel and to suspend the site discipline team's recommendation for expulsion in accordance with board policy and allow continued enrollment in a district-operated school under mandated conditions. Students' suspended expulsion status will be in effect for the fall and spring semesters of the 2013-2014 school year. Conditions above subject to review with evidence of positive attendance, satisfactory behavior, substance abuse counseling program, screenings, community service, and appropriate academic performance.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Case 17, a case has been presented to the board that the student did commit expellable acts as defined by the California Education Code. This recommended motion is for the board to expel and to suspend the site discipline team's recommendation for expulsion in accordance with board policy and to allow continuing enrollment in district-operated school under mandated conditions. Student suspended expulsion status will be in effect for the fall and spring semesters of the 2013-2014 school year. Conditions above subject to review with evidence of positive attendance, satisfactory behavior, substance abuse counseling program and screenings, community service, and appropriate academic performance.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Case 18, a case has been presented to the board that the student did commit an expellable act as defined by the California Education Code. The recommended motion is for the board to expel and to suspend the site discipline team's recommendation for expulsion in accordance with board policy and to allow continued enrollment in a district-operated school under mandated conditions. The student's suspended expulsion status will be in effect for the spring semester, the 2013-2014 school year, and the fall semester of the 2014-2015 school year. Conditions above subject to review with evidence of positive attendance, satisfactory behavior, substance abuse counseling programs, screenings, community service, and appropriate academic performance.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
This is where I throw a curveball at you here. Case 19, a case has been presented to the board that the student did commit an expellable act as defined by the California Education Code. Prior disciplinary actions have been attempted and were not successful, and or due to the nature of the act, the presence of the pupil causes a continuing danger to the physical safety of the pupil and others. The recommended motion is for the board to support the site discipline team's recommendation for expulsion in accordance with board policy and to facilitate enrollment in a county-operated community school. Students' expulsion status will be in effect for the fall and spring semesters of the 2013-2014 school year. Conditions above subject to review with evidence of positive attendance, satisfactory behavior, substance abuse counseling program, and screening, community service, and appropriate academic performance.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And finally, case 20, a case has been presented to the board that the student did commit an expellable act as defined by the California Education Code. Recommended motion is to the board to expel and to suspend the site discipline team's recommendation for expulsion in accordance with board policy and to allow continued enrollment in a district-operated school under mandated conditions. Student suspended expulsion status will be in effect for the spring semester of the 2013-2014 school year and the fall semester of the 2014-2015 school year. Conditions above subject to review with evidence of positive attendance, satisfactory behavior, substance abuse counseling program and screenings, community service, appropriate academic performance.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5. I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
You're really ready
All those
to
in favor?
Aye.
Wow, that was a long.
long meeting, thanks everyone.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.